into another edition of Prom Sports World, and it's NFL Draft Day. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, David On Point Huff, and right there is the CEO of Prom Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast as we're going to be breaking down the entire first round with videos, pictures of the prospects. So keep an eye out for all of our content. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you do happen to miss us live, we have a plethora of streaming platforms that you can choose from if you want to check us out over there. So yeah, check us out. Please check us out. But yeah, the NFL draft is in just a few minutes as the Carolina Panthers are on the clock. They've been on the clock since they finished that trade with the Chicago Bears back last month. So this is the moment of truth for all the teams, all the planning, all the think tanking they did to try to plan for this very moment has led us all to this moment where we're going to hear some names heard tonight. So thank you very much for checking out our NFL draft coverage. We're going to try to cover every pick in the first round, but we may have to sign off a little bit early, depending on how that ends up working out. But yeah, I'm David Huffman right there. It's Israel Rivera. Welcome into the show, guys. Welcome into the show. Izzy, what's up, man? NFL draft day.
What's going on, David? You know what? I'm sorry if y'all hear a little bit of background noise with me driving. But I couldn't leave my guy hanging here
I
for the
appreciate
first
it, man.
40 minutes. He could have rode the ship for a little bit, but
I got a lot of content planned, so I could have tried to ride the ship.
He can ride the ship, but if it gets too noisy, David, just let me know. I'll hop off and I'll just hop back on. But I'll try and contribute as best as I can while I'm making my way home from Chicago. So
please drive safe. We don't want anything to happen to you while you're driving. But let's just talk about the beginning of this draft, since we don't have a team yet technically on the clock yet. Carolina is waiting to draft. We haven't even seen Roger Goodell go up to the podium yet and get the hate talk on him. What are you just looking forward to when it comes to this year's draft so far?
You know what? We have four interesting. What I want to say about the quarterback class here, okay? We have three guys in the quarterback class, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, right, that could be very, very good or could be, okay, I guess. There's some bust potential there. The real intriguing quarterback is Anthony Richardson, right? Where's he going to go? Where does he fit? And what kind of we know how much of the potential he has. He fits in right with the NFL, with the NFL's direction of scheming goes into in terms of offense with the mobile quarterbacks and the strong arm. Also, this is a very, very, very deep defensive class, right? So this is very DB heavy, very pass rush heavy, right? So look out for. I don't know what the record is for defensive players picked in the first round, but it's going to be close this year.
The thing I love about this particular year's of draft is all the uncertainty. Like, I don't think anybody knows it. Like, I think we know what Carolina's going to do. Probably at number one. I think they're going to take Bryce Young unless something out of the ordinary happens here. But Susie Colbert just reported on ESPN that they haven't even, that the Bryce Young camp hasn't even been contacted by Carolina Panthers. And I don't know if that's all just smoke and mirrors. They're required to say stuff like that. But the Houston Texans at 2, the Arizona Cardinals at 3, all of those teams, I have no idea what they're going to do. There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to this year's draft about what teams might do what.
Honestly, man, if I'm Houston, man, it's tough for me. I think they're gonna go CJ Stroud at 2. I do agree. I think Bryce Young is. I don't want to say he's a super lock because there is a lot of uncertainty, but I do think that the rumors leading up to the draft. At first, it was CJ Stroud 2 weeks ago. That was gonna probably be picked number 1 overall. But then in the last 2 weeks, the train has been super heavy on Bryce Young being picked. And I think it's just the intangibles. He's like a Houdini with the football, right? His team didn't make it to the national championship last year, but some of the games that he played were magnificent last year. And he's a former Heisman Trophy winner. So
I think the other thing about him is that he's extremely accurate with the football.
Yes.
He can make all of the NFL throws. Maybe people want to criticize, his height or whatever. But I think we've gotten past that size, like where size is really a contributing factor. He would be the first player taken at 5'10". But I'm not super concerned about that. Let's just talk about the Carolina Panthers. You got a little bit of background noise there, Izzy. Panthers are on the clock. Pick number first overall pick. Their team needs are obviously quarterback, wide receiver, edge, and running back. Wide receiver since they traded away DJ Moore. Running back, I think they did sign Miles Sanders, but as a team that's going to run the football as much as they had in the past, I think you're going to need some bell cows back there in the running back position. But yeah, you don't trade up to number one. You're not going to trade up to number one to try to take something besides a quarterback. This will be the move. They will take a quarterback, whatever one they think is the best guy in the game.
I just got news. I hate the TV and then Twitter. Bryce Young is number one overall, David. It's probably didn't hit your TV screen yet, but I just got a Twitter alert from my NBA guy, Shams Shamra.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Number one overall is Bryce Young. He'd be the first number one overall Alabama quarterback in a very long time, right, David?
Yeah, so he's the first Alabama quarterback to ever be drafted in the NFL since 1948. When it was,
who was the last guy? Who is that guy? Come on, just tell me.
I cannot remember his name, but in 1968, Joe Theismann was drafted in the AFL. So he was the last.
You mean Joe Namath? Joe Namath.
Joe Namath. Sorry,
Joe Willie Namath. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But Bryce Young does have a lot of the stuff you look for when it comes to the quarterback position. He's super accurate. He can make all the throws.
I worry about him, David, taking the NFL punishment. We've seen it with Kyler Murray. We kind of seen it a little bit in Drew Brees' early career, right? With the San Diego, now they're LA, but when he was with San Diego with the Chargers, I just kind of worry sometimes about those smaller stature quarterbacks when they take a hit. We've seen Tua this past year, smaller in stature. That's the only knock I got on Bryce Young. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I mean, he's literally everything you could want in a prospect.
Right.
He makes all the throws. He was a proven winner in college. He played like there's a stat where if you play like 40%, if you play like over 40 starts or 25 starts, I think in the college football, usually translates pretty well to the NFL.
And technically, he is a national champion because he backed up Mac Jones when they won a natty his senior year. So, as a backup, he's got a ring. He's got the championship pedigree, but he's got the hardware to prove it. My thing is with Carolina is it's not going to fix all your problems day one, but when I look at that division, I think it's up for grabs in my opinion. I mean,
yeah, it's extremely winnable division. I mean, Derek Carr is the best quarterback in it currently, and I'm not totally sold that he's going to be the fixer-all of what they need here
for the Saints. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. You can't go wrong. I personally, in my opinion, I like CJ Stroud better to go number one overall. If you just want to, if you just want me, the game against Georgia is what did it for me, right? Where it's like, okay, I know he has all the talent of wide receivers on the field, but against Georgia, he played he played a hell of a game against Georgia. Almost took Ohio State to the national championship. He was I don't even know what the hell the field goal kicker was. I don't know where he was kicking.
Yeah, I was in Columbus when that happened. But yeah, I think Carolina, they get a good player here. They get a good football player. They get somebody who's going to be a winner. The pick still hasn't been announced on television, so we're still just kind of waiting for the pick to be announced on TV. So it can't really
incredible. They need to stop doing that. Twitter, stop. Let me see it on TV.
I think that's kind of one of the things that's ruined all draft shows, like because the picks end up on Twitter before they end up on TV. Because remember we did the NBA draft and we had the same problem.
Yeah, no, we did. Where all you got Shams and you got Woj telling you what the pick is before it comes on the TV. And it's just kind of like, okay, you can stop doing that. Like I want to know who's gonna get picked here. Like I want to have that element of surprise and be excited when my favorite team picks a player. So it is what it is. It's the age of
I mean,
social media.
it's the era of the world that we live in these days, where everything's posted on the internet. I mean, everything's on social media. There's only so much you can do. But yeah, I got Bryce Young highlights on playing for you right now. I mean, yeah, the dude can just flat out sling it. He's the most accurate quarterback in this year's draft. He's probably the best pure passer in this year's draft, and I think that's going to be valuable. What do you think his comp is to the next level in the NFL?
A good comparison. Oh man, I want to say a Drew Brees. I want to say, I mean, there's not many 5'10" quarterbacks to choose from. In history, right? I mean, I can say a Doug Flutie, but I mean, no, he's not Doug Flutie. I think that closest is probably Drew Brees, and man, I don't even want to say Roger Staubach. I don't know if he's the runner that Staubach was, but that's pretty damn good company when I'm mentioning Brees and Staubach. Like that's
I mean, we're talking all-time greats right there.
We're talking all-time greats, right? So but David, I mean, we don't have. I mean, 5'10" quarterbacks in the league. I mean, historically, I mean, you could say a little bit of Russell Wilson. Maybe a little bit of Russell Wilson.
I think if you want to talk about somebody who's more this generation, I think Russell Wilson's a good comparison. Or even, Kyler Murray. I think he's a little bit better of a passer than Kyler Murray is already. Like when Kyler Murray came out of Oklahoma, I think Bryce Young is a better pure passer than Kyler was even then. I think Kyler Murray may have thrown the deep ball a little bit better than Bryce Young does now, but I think he'll get into that. He'll develop. I mean, he's 21 years old. I mean, 22.
Absolutely. I think another thing that Carolina has to continue to do, if you get a franchise quarterback, the Bears kind of struggle with this, and hopefully they start sewing it up a little bit in this draft. You need to start getting guys that, you got to start getting guys to protect them, right? You have to invest in your offensive line. Now that you got your franchise quarterback, hasn't been officially announced on TV yet, but now that you're getting your franchise quarterback, you have to start investing in your tackles and your guards and your centers. Carolina's line wasn't too terrible last year, but they need to start investing in that right away to keep this kid healthy, because he is, like I said, he's slider frame. He's 5'10". He's tough as nails.
Well, I mean, they did a lot. They kicked Ike Ekwonu last year in last year's draft, who was a really good player actually. Last season.
Absolutely. So, got to continue to invest in the offensive line. That's one thing that that teams want to go get weapons and all of this good stuff, but invest in that offensive line to keep your quarterback upright, because I mean, if you gotta, I mean, look at Justin Fields. I mean, he's getting. I mean, even though he had over 1,000 yards, he's getting killed.
I mean, he hasn't completed an entire season yet.
Yeah, he hasn't completed the entire season because he's hurt or whatever the case is. So you got to invest in that offensive line. I've never seen a franchise quarterback be successful without an offensive line. Those guys are the most important part of the offense, in my opinion, other than the quarterback, obviously. So you have to keep that kid upright. But I think Carolina's getting a great one, man. I think this kid, his potential, if he can be like a Russell Wilson, or maybe a little bit of a Roger Staubach. I don't think he's not the runner, but Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. I mean, you're talking really good company. Maybe future Hall of Famers right there. So.
Yep. I've always felt like there's too much time between draft picks when it comes to the NFL draft. Like they give them literally like an eternity to make a selection. So as soon as the pick is in. It's been announced by NFL Network. Bryce Young is now officially a Carolina Panther. So you heard it here first on Prime Sports World if you're watching our stream. So kudos to us. And we kind of went over what we thought Bryce Young does well. We're not going to beat on a broken record to try to talk about it forever. But yeah, the pick is in. Bryce Young, Alabama. So here's Roger Goodell making the announcement right there at the podium.
There's Roger Goodell, baby. Good old Raj.
Bryce Young goes to the Carolina Panthers, as we reported about 10 minutes ago now. The Houston Texans are now on the clock, and they have the number 2 pick overall. Their major team needs are quarterback, wide receiver, edge, defensive tackle, defensive line. So
Yeah,
I think at the beginning of this draft process, it seemed pretty cut and dry that they were going to take a quarterback with this pick. But as the process has kind of evolved, it's become less and less likely that they're going to take a quarterback.
how's my background noise, David?
You're good. You're good.
I'm good. Okay, good. So yeah, I think this should be Will Anderson right here. I think this should be Will Anderson. You get a guy. You haven't had a guy like a Will Anderson since you had a J.J. Watt, right? You need a perennial pass rusher. Pass rushers, if you want to talk about importancy, pass rushers in the NFL are important. It's all hell. They're what I call your closers.
You can make the argument it might be the third most important position in the NFL.
Yes, and I always say this, that they are, when it comes to like baseball or something, right? You got your closers. Mariano Rivera, arguably one of the greatest closers ever in baseball, his MLB history, right? Well, you get a guy like a pass rusher, where it's a close game and it's a third down, and you need a sack or you need a stop, and your pass rusher gets it for you. We saw how the Denver Broncos, right, a few years back with Von Miller and Godly. DeMarcus Ware. Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say DeMarcus Lawrence, but it's DeMarcus Ware. You got 2 great edge rushers. They were the most important part of that Super Bowl run, when it came to the Denver Broncos. So I can't express how much an edge rusher, a perennial all-pro edge rusher potential that Will Anderson will be. They just got a defensive coach in D'Amico Ryans.
But I think the problem is, I don't think Davis Mills was so poor that they cost them that many games. But until they get the quarterback position, none of the rest of it matters.
Yeah, well, I think
because Davis Mills, I know you're high. I know you were high on him, and he was a fun story to talk about. But he's not the future of the franchise. They need somebody who's going to. They need to find somebody who's going to come in and be the franchise. And until you get that guy, I don't think you can just continue kicking the can down the road.
But my thing is here. This is my thing here. You can go get next year. I don't really foresee an edge rusher as the caliber of. And see, I'm hating this Twitter thing. I'm not going to even say who the pick is. Until we find out and look at it on the TV. I know who the second pick is. The edge rusher position, there's not going to be a guy next year, I don't think, that's going to come out like a Will Anderson type of player. I think you nab him, and then you wait till next year to get a quarterback, because that quarterback class is going to be pretty good as well, too. So with Drake May and Caleb Williams at the top. So, I would do that if I was the Texans, but I don't think they're going that direction. So, because I'm just disappointed. I just need to turn off my Twitter notifications because I know who the pick is.
Well, you at least message it to me so I can fix the graphic.
Oh yeah. I'll message it to you. I'll message it to you right now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It wouldn't kill you to tell me.
Oh no! It wouldn't kill me to tell you. There you go. Just dropped it in the.
Thank you. So yeah, now to the next pick. You want to just let people know who the next pick is?
You said, should we let them know who the next pick is?
That's what we're doing. We're breaking down the picks. We're making the announcements here.
You want me to make the announcement before it happens? Okay.
Yeah.
The Texans are going to pick C.J. Stroud here at number 2. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the element of surprise. But hey, Prime Sports World is bringing you some groundbreaking news here, right?
We're bringing you breaking news. We're a news organization. We can. Hey, if also you could hold on a second.
So C.J. Stroud is going to be the number 2 pick here, and you couldn't go wrong with C.J. Stroud or Will Anderson. C.J. Stroud is money. The last 2 years, he's been incredible. I mean, the one game that just really stands out for me is last year's college football play. This past year's college football playoff against a historical Georgia Bulldog defense. So.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he basically showed up on any of those questions about his ability to throw. I mean, he was literally amazing in that game. It was probably his best game as a pro. I'm sure Ohio State came up a little bit short, but you literally, yeah, okay. I figured that's what it might be. All right, cool. But yeah, CJ Stroud can make all the throws. He has the ideal body type that you look for when you're talking about franchise quarterbacks. This is the kind of guy you're looking for. I love how the NBA guys are like, is it not? It's not enough. It's not enough. Man, his account just got suspended.
This guy, you know what?
It's not enough. You just break it every trade in the NBA. But yeah, his account got suspended.
Oh, his account just got suspended
By Twitter or something, man. Because
yeah, he's over there dropping breaking news. What's wrong with this guy? He said, "What's wrong with this guy?" I don't think we'll get another pick from him coming until the NFL draft is over with.
No, dude, I think Twitter. I think he's got blocked for like I don't even know. I'm not a big Twitter user, but yeah, CJ Stroud is the end up being the pick for.
If Shams Charania, it's not like David said. It's not enough that he's cutting in on Woj's stuff in the NBA, but he's cutting in on Shefty's stuff too in the NFL. You know, important. You know what I mean?
I bet Aaron Rodgers is super happy about that. Cutting into Adam Schefter.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is probably telling him. He's like, "Hey, Shams,
let's stick it to him." But here's some highlights of CJ Stroud. The dude, can make every single throw. I also think things get very interesting now with the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Because this is now that like two quarterbacks have gone back to back, right? You got to think that if you're a team that needs a quarterback, you're looking at that Cardinals pick. Like we gotta get above Indy if we want somebody. Because Indy's for sure gonna take somebody, especially since Lamar Jackson just signed that massive contract today.
Yeah. So here I expect Will Anderson to go. We didn't expect him to get out the top 3. I expect Will Anderson to be drafted at this spot right here where Arizona.
I'm reverting back to my mock draft. I still think the pick will be. I think the Raiders are going to trade up, or somebody's going to trade up with Arizona.
To get Will Levis or Anthony Richardson?
One of those two guys. Because I think if you're a quarterback, the team that needs a quarterback, and not to mention the Arizona Cardinals, I think are going to be incentivized to trade back. Like they're not. One guy is not fixing their team. Will Anderson's a good player, but he's not fixing everything wrong with him. They should whatever draft capital, future draft capital they can get to move back in this year's draft. They should do it no matter what the cost.
I think next year's a wash for them anyway, since Kyler Murray is not going to play all year.
True.
He's gonna sit
they're
out
probably
the year.
They're probably going to end up with the top 5 pick next year too.
Right. So, I mean, they're one of the worst teams at getting after the quarterback, man. I mean, I gotta go Will. You gotta go Will Anderson here, man. I mean, I guess you know what? If you can trade back and get some draft capital, more picks in the second and third rounds, I'm all for it. But if there's not an enticing offer for someone to move up to number 3, then you got to go with the safest pick, which is Will Anderson here. A team need for the Arizona Cardinals. A definite team need.
They have some other needs. Like they could go Jalen Carter here as well, who's a guy they could take as well. Their major team needs are on the screen right there. You're looking at it. I mean, they got edge, defensive lineman, cornerback, outside linebacker, inside offensive lineman. I mean, this could be somebody who takes like a Paris Johnson. Like, I think this will be stupid early for him. But in my opinion, I think this is a prime spot to be trading back. I got a lot of background.
This is an excellent spot to trade back. I think that if you can get more
as much as I think that Will Anderson's the best overall prospect in this draft, I think it makes team sense to trade back and get more draft capital. It just does.
No, I totally agree with you. That it does make a lot of sense to trade back and get more draft capital, because you are right. They have many needs. They have offensive lineman needs. That's why Kyler Murray's hurt. They have, edge rushing needs, defensive line needs, cornerback needs. I mean, Buda Baker is out there by himself.
I mean, he wants
games.
to. I mean, he wants to get traded too. I mean, he doesn't even want to be there anymore.
Right, he's frustrated. So yeah, the Arizona Cardinals haven't had a shutdown corner since Patrick Peterson left, which was a couple years back. So yeah, I would. It's too high to go Christian Gonzalez or Devon Witherspoon if they keep the pick. You got to go either.
I think without a doubt, if they're gonna if they're staying here, they're taking Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. There's nobody else that's gonna be taken here.
Nobody else. So, I am going to invite somebody to the podcast and see if they join here.
Okay. Oh, Shams is back. He's back.
You said who's back?
Shams is back, man. So I mean,
oh my God, no! His Twitter didn't get suspended because I'm still getting notifications here.
So I got the pick for the third pick in the overall. So we're gonna break that news here in a second. With the third pick in the NFL draft, the Arizona Cardinals have selected defensive end. Sorry.
Are you doing ESPN?
Yeah. So
speaking of ESPN, breaking news.
Will Anderson, the edge out of Alabama, is the pick for the Arizona Cardinals at number 3. Let's talk about what he does well, which is he gets after the quarterback. He's the best. He's probably the best edge rusher we've seen in the last couple of years in the NFL draft. And I also think this means Arizona didn't get the draft capital they were quote unquote looking for when it comes to making a trade back. But let's talk about what Will Anderson does well, which is a lot of things, right? There are a lot of thast that he does well.
He does a lot of things well. He gets after the quarterback. I mean, this past year, he was on the radar of a lot of teams, right? But before that, he led the nation in sacks the year before, or was one of the leaders in sacks. But this year, he was getting double teamed, sometimes triple teamed with a halfback coming to chip on him. He's a guy that can set the edge. He's not just a one-trick pony. So you know how you got a guy like Jadeveon Clowney who can he can't get after the quarterback.
Hold on. One second here. ESPN that has the Houston Texans around the clock right now. So hold on. So the Houston Texans have traded with the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know what the draft compensation is. So this pick
Wait, they just got 2 back-to-back picks? What?
Yeah. So this pick is going to Houston.
The Arizona Cardinals, way. So they got the number 2 overall and the number 3 overall pick?
Yeah, so this pick was originally made.
This is going to be Will Anderson.
It is Will Anderson. This pick is the same player. It's just so this pick has been traded from the Arizona Cardinals to the Houston Texans. Will Anderson is going to be a Houston Texan.
All right.
I do not know.
Automatically, the Houston Texans already look. David. Already automatically. I don't even got to watch the first round. Already automatically, the Houston Texans won the draft. There we go. They won the draft.
I mean, it depends on what conversation they had to give up, right?
The first 3 picks, they won it. They won the draft. Huh? If this trade goes down,
it's done.
The Houston Texans
it's a done deal.
Have won the draft already.
Will Anderson is going to the Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans have won the draft. They got C.J. Stroud. And they got Will Anderson. They got the 2 players that they needed the most. I mean, what else? What else is there to say? They won the draft. They won the draft, in my opinion.
I'm a little bit shocked that they were able to pull this off. I'll be very interested to see what the draft compensation is attached to this, because this is a pretty crazy tournament.
Probably a lot.
Because they had to.
That is incredible. I've never seen where a team jumps into.
I mean,
That is incredible. So one thing
but
about Will Anderson,
the thing
he
is
is
they
a
have
athletic freak.
they have the draft capital to try to make this happen. They have future draft capital. It'll be interesting to see what the draft capital is when it's finally said and done. But yeah, this is a crazy turn of events, and for the Houston Texans, you get both the guys you wanted.
Okay, Will Anderson. Look at
Go
him
ahead.
set the edge there. Look at him get after the quarterback. He can beat any tackle off the line. He's fast. He's strong. He can bull rush you. He can beat you on a speed tip. Will Anderson is the most complete edge rusher. He can stand up. He can put his hand in the ground. He can do it all. He can cover the flat on some running backs. This guy is an athletic freak. He can drop back in coverage sometimes. This guy is the most complete edge rusher. He is what we're looking at edge rushers now in today's game that can just do it all. Will Anderson is going to be a perennial All-Pro when it's all said and done after this draft, and he may be the best pick in this whole entire draft.
I mean, he's the best player in this year's draft. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm blown away for Houston Texans. Kudos to you guys. You didn't just sit there on your morals and wait for stuff to come to you. I mean, you got your best number 1 and number 2 needs.
This is incredible. This is incredible.
Moving on to the 5th pick. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. They're now on the clock. I'm assuming they're going to be on the clock. Their needs: quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver, offensive tackle. What do you think?
Look, first of all,
I think they're taking a quarterback.
Shams. I don't need Shams or anybody ruining this pick. I don't even need to look at their notifications because I know where they're going. Anytime the sheriff says great things about a prospect, he's going there. Especially, you know who the sheriff is, guys. Peyton Manning. Anytime Peyton Manning says this guy is built to be an NFL quarterback, I love this guy. And he used to play for the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, he's going to the Indianapolis Colts. Will Levis will be the number 4 overall pick here. I don't even.
I think it's going to be a quarterback. I don't know for sure which quarterback it'll be, but there will be a quarterback in Indianapolis.
I think folks in Indy would be irate if Anthony Richardson is picked here.
Man, I work in Fort Wayne, right? And like I work with a lot of Colts fans. Like I just as that's the way things go. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna burn my apartment to the ground if like Will Levis is the pick here.
If Anthony Richardson is picked here,
but they also said that like that was the case if CJ Stroud was still on the board. So they ended up with they passed on CJ Stroud for Will Levis. The CJ Stroud is gone now, so maybe nobody will be burning their apartment down in Fort Wayne, Indiana tonight. So
they will be. You know what? I think Will Levis is going to be the pick here. They're getting a guy big, strong arm.
So here's the compensation for that trade. The Arizona Cardinals got $12.33. They also got a 2024 first and a 2024 third. The Cardinals got obviously the Cardinals traded the 3rd pick at 105, which is like 6th round, 5th or 6th, 4th round, something like that. But yeah, so the Cardinals got 2 additional first, a second. So yeah, that's a pretty good haul if you're the Arizona Cardinals.
The Texans are not going to be good next year. The Arizona Cardinals are going to have 2 top 10 picks next year.
Yep.
The Arizona Cardinals are going to have 2 top 10 picks next year. I would absolutely have done that, and it's crazy that we were talking about it. They're enticed to trade back and get draft capital. Smart move by the Arizona Cardinals here.
100%. And they get a real haul here. I mean, a two first, a second, and a third. That's immense value. Like that's building a good football team.
I mean,
that's smart.
If you can hit, and TJ, if he was here, he'd say it. I mean, you have to hit on the picks, right? So you can't just be picking bull crap. Oh my gosh. I think Fort Wayne is going to burn down, David. It is going to burn down. Because my sources say that Anthony Richardson is going here at number 4 overall.
All right. Well, I want to see something official because I haven't seen anything else. I'm looking at the goat of spoilers here. from Shams. I'm not seeing that official anywhere else.
This is incredible. Anthony Richardson, the Indianapolis coach, fell in love with
the
the
intangible.
athleticism, with the intangibles, the strong arm, and when you put on 25 best plays of any quarterback in this draft, the 25 best plays that Anthony Richardson made are mind-boggling. They jump off the tape. They're better than anybody else's 25 best plays, right? Uh, this year. But when you look at a whole body of work, he wasn't consistent at Florida. Um, he was very inconsistent at Florida. He did come on strong in the second half of the year. I think the game against Utah, where he made some incredible. The throw to the back of the end zone where he does a 360 fake pump with a throw to the back of the end zone. Who makes that play? Like, that's
so the pick is
otherworldly.
official. It is official now. The pick is Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida. He is the official pick of the Indianapolis Colts here at number 4. But yes, he does. Like, so they got wowed by the intangibles that the guy showed, the tape, like just the combine and the overall numbers, like, are really impressive.
I think Will Levis is going to be a Tennessee Titan. I would think he'll be a Tennessee Titan.
I will see. But what do we think about Anthony Richardson going to Florida or going to Indianapolis?
Man, you know what, man, they better hit on this pick. They better hit on this
for
pick,
sure.
Man.
This is
because
probably
this is gonna be one of those picks
where the GM is putting his career on the line here for this pick.
He's putting his career on the line, definitely, for sure. I think that let's look at his upside. Upside, he could be like a Cam Newton. Cam Newton's a former MVP that went to the Super Bowl. Downside, low end.
Well, he has the lowest completion percentage of any quarterback ever taken in the top 5.
That's incredible.
Ever.
It's inconsistency. It's strong as hell arm. He's got a great deep ball.
And he's super
fast
athletic.
As hell. He's everything that when you talk about the mobile quarterback that they're looking for, he's everything that you're looking for. Big, fast, strong, has a strong arm, but he's just inconsistent with his accuracy, inconsistent with his play. I don't know if that's youth. I don't know if that's the weapons that he had around Florida, but he's just inconsistent, basically majority of the season in Florida. When I think about this pick, I said like high end Cam Newton, low end, any mobile quarterback that you could think of that was not good. Achilles Smith, Spurgeon Williams. Yeah. You could just name one.
There are tons of quarterbacks that like fit into the build of being like the guy who's like crazy athletic but never really panned out in the NFL.
You could name any quarterback out here. A guy like Jake Locker. Who else?
Jamarcus Jake Locker was more because of injuries to derailed his career. But if we look at some of the tape of Anthony Richardson, he can make those throws that really wow you. Like fit it into tight windows. Hit players on the stride, make NFL throws. He throws people open, and he's crazy. Look at like just on the roll.
Look at the wrist. Look at that. Look at the wrist. Boom, right there on the money. And he didn't really have a number 1 there at Florida either. He didn't have a number 1 wide receiver. I just always wonder if he had a number 1 threat, how much more consistent would he be at Florida? Look at this. This is amazing. Look at it. Boop, boop. Cuts it back up. Not many quarterbacks are making this play right.
This is Eastern Washington. Like, let's hold it with a little bit of a grain of salt here.
I know,
The Indianapolis Colts finally get their guy. Shout out to them. They've been messing around with the quarterback situation for a while. It's nice for them to finally get somebody they can count on. This is the guy they're going to build around, and this is the guy their GM has basically tied his career to. We'll see how it ends up working out. Let's talk about Seattle as they're on the clock now, under 5 minutes in to make the pick. Their major needs: edge, defensive line, wide receiver, inside, interior offensive lineman.
Jalen Carter's got to go here.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe. Unless they've fallen in love with Tyree Wilson, but they had a season where they didn't really expect to be as good as they were last year, and Geno Smith kind of bounced back. So quarterback kind of goes on the back burner. So they don't necessarily. They don't think they're going to take a quarterback here. This has got to be Tyree Wilson. You got to address your defense. One of the worst defenses in the NFL this past season. Gave up tons of yards on the ground. So I think you got to shore that up, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You get Jalen Carter. He can play in the 4-3 scheme. He can play in your 3-4 scheme. He's not really a guy that's gonna stand up though. He's not like a Will Anderson where he's standing up. He's a legit 4-3 edge rusher that could put his hand in the ground and he can really get after it. He can even play at the defensive tackle position in some sets, right? So this kid is they're gonna get a special talent if this is the pick for Seattle.
But I don't think
Jalen
I
Carter.
don't necessarily think you can go wrong. If you take Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter, I think you're getting like Jalen Carter might be a once in a generational type talent. And if you didn't have like all the off the field stuff going on, I mean, he's probably taken by the. He's probably taken before Will Anderson. That's how good he was at college.
Yeah,
And Tyree
dominant.
Wilson, as you mentioned, has more pressures than any other by a landslide than anybody other
Landslide.
than any of these other ed prospects. So
And his size is what really intrigues NFL teams, right? What is he? 6'6", 6'7", long arms. He's fast off the line. He's a bit of a raw guy. I like your comparison for Tyree Wilson the other night, Daniil Hunter. I
yeah.
actually love that comparison because I think Daniil Hunter was a raw talent coming out of college, and so is Tyree Wilson. So it's really like I think Seattle has a hard decision right here to go for. Like the potential of Tyree Wilson is immense, and so is Jalen Carter. So they have a tough decision here. But I think if I'm them, I go with the guy that played for the once in the generation of I go for the guy that played on a defense that was one of the most dominant defenses in college football history. So I go with that guy who was the leader of that defense this past year.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can find a spoiler, so we can get the pick in before it comes into the TV. But it definitely seems like Shams has got maybe like the NFL guys were like, "Hey, like
No, bro, stop it."
You're stealing
Because
our thunder, bro.
I get Adam Schefter tweets.
But also, like he had he's the one that announced that Will Anderson was going to the Cardinals, and it wasn't like it took him like a couple minutes later to be like, "Oh, hey, he's actually going to go to the Texans."
Yeah, because honestly, I get Adam Schefter, I get all the NFL guys notifications to my phone. I haven't gotten one yet come to my phone before his. Like the picks are made. I mean, and they talk about it, but Shams is I don't know where the hell he's getting his sources from. Somebody there at the NFL draft is a mole. And I don't know what to say.
Well, until then, I guess the pick is now in. We're just waiting for it to be announced here on TV. I'm looking at multiple outlets to see if we can get the pick in before. But it looks like we're gonna have to wait, like everybody else, unfortunately.
It's a good thing. Element of surprise. God dang it.
I know, but we're trying to be a news organization here. We're trying to break news.
That would be that'd be awesome. Yeah, keep it coming. Keep it coming, Shams. There we go.
Yeah. Keep helping the little guy out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Man, oh my gosh, I can't believe the Houston Texans jumped back into the top 5 to grab.
We'll talk about more of this next week when we can do our NFL draft grades and winners and losers. Also, big shout out. I wouldn't be surprised. Real quick shout out to my friends over there at Yamo Media. They're also running an NFL draft show. I'm going to share that show onto the Prime Sports World main Facebook page. So go check them out.
Would you be surprised here, David? Would you be surprised here because I know that, even though I know they got Tyler Lockett, and even though I know they got
I would be shocked. Yeah,
would you be surprised if they went Jackson Smith and Jugba?
So I got the pick. I'm going to put it into a second here. I know who the Seattle Seahawks picked. So just give me just a second. I think you're going to like who they picked. I'm a little bit shocked, to be totally honest with you. I thought this guy was going to go a pick later, but the fifth pick in the NFL draft made by the Seattle Seahawks is Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, Illinois.
Oh, I like that. I like that pick. I like that
Or
pick.
Devon
That
Witherspoon,
means
sorry.
for sure I'm pissed off right now. You want to know why? Because Christian Gonzalez was a plus 1,000 to get picked by the Detroit Lions, and I straight up did not take that bet.
I don't think
should have took that
he's
bet.
not going to get picked by the Detroit Lions. I'll just do the ESPN alert music here real quick.
You don't think Christian Gonzalez is going to go to the Lions?
There you go. No, I don't. I think they're going to take. Jalen Carter. I think he's too convenient not to take him. But Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois, ends up being a Seattle Seahawk. He's got a lot of intangibles and a lot of draft prospects, right? He's 6 foot 4.45 in the 40. He's a 90 grade in PFFF. Super aggressive corner. He's speed. Like the dude is just a good cornerback, and he basically kept
reminds
Illinois
me a lot
relevant.
of Darrell Revis, man.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of Darrell Revis, like your prototypical shutdown corner. He's tough as nails. He's great in the run game. He's the best press coverage corner in the draft, man-to-man corner in the draft. There's nothing to say about Devin Witherspoon. I mean, he is flat out sensational. And the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, they were the best, right? The Legion of Boom. And they had Richard Sherman and
the only question I have is like they just drafted 2 corners in the most recent draft who were pretty good.
Oh my gosh, excellent rookies.
Yeah, like I don't really. I guess on that aspect of it, I don't really get it. Like cornerback wasn't a major need. Unless they think that Devin Witherspoon is just so much better than all the other defensive prospects in this year's draft. I'm just not sure that's the case.
I was getting to it, David. The Legion of Boom. Remember when Pete Carroll built that defense? Was with Cam, Bam Bam Cam, Brandon Browner, Richard Sherman, Godley's who's the safety from Texas?
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas. You know those guys. I mean, you get 3 good corners. You know you're gonna be everything else is gonna, just come right in. Just dive right back in. Like if you can get pressure and you have 3 elite corners or 3 really good corners, I think you're in a good space, in my opinion. So I like the pick. I think they're trying to build. I
don't necessarily hate it. I mean, I obviously you need good cornerback play if you're going to really compete in the NFC. But I would personally have gone Jalen Carter. I just think that this is I don't necessarily think you obviously think if this is your best player on your board, take him. Sure, fine.
Right.
I'm just not sure he's the best player on the board right now, and I don't necessarily love it. I think Tyree Wilson would have been a better pick than this. I think that Jalen Carter would have been a better pick than this. But if you're the Lions, you got to be happy as a clam the way this worked out, right?
Oh yeah, if you're the Lions, you're happy as all hell because they're probably gonna go get Jalen Carter. You're right. They probably are gonna go get Jalen Carter. I thought about it and it's like it makes total sense. Sense.
Their major needs are on the screen right there: cornerback, defensive line, edge, and then tight end. Obviously, since they traded away,
absolutely,
yeah.
I am gonna take a 5 to 10 minute break here and hop off. I will hop back on as soon as possible.
Okay, for sure. But yeah, we got the Lions at the clock here, number 6. Izzy, you can jump back in when I'll just remove you from there. You go. But yeah, we're looking at the Lions here on the clock. They're quarterback, defensive line, edge, and then tight end obviously is the major need as well. They have 4 minutes to make this selection. The Lions kind of a surprise team in the 2023 or 2022 NFL season as they really came out and played much better than people anticipated. But yeah, it took. I just don't. People thought the Detroit Lions were going to be maybe not so good this season, or last season, but now that reaction, they're probably going to be the best team in the NFC North, right? With the Packers trading away Aaron Rodgers and the Bears still kind of finding their way, and I still think that the Vikings may, eventually they're going to fall. They're going to slip a little bit. And this could be the season that happens. Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to share something real quick. I just can't seem to get it. I'm going to go ahead and share this directly into my Facebook page. Sorry. So yeah, go ahead and share it in the comment section the link to Yamu, their NFL draft coverage. Go ahead and check them out over there. They put some good content over there. It's part of a bunch of the guys at the Ohio Media School and the Illinois Media School. So they put out good content over there. That comment is in the chat. Let me go ahead and just take my video down for just a second so I can finish sharing this show as I wait for the Lions draft pick to come in here. Throw some music on. Where was I? Oh, we got some breaking news into the our newsroom here. Hold on, I got muted here. Yeah, we got some breaking news just into the newsroom. The Arizona Cardinals are back on the clock as they have traded the Detroit Lions have traded back with the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not sure what the compensation is on that pick, but now the Arizona Cardinals are back on the clock. Let's hit the ESPN button so we can let people know that notification. The Arizona Cardinals are now on the clock, and they have traded. I will get the draft compensation for you as soon as I can. Let you guys know exactly what transaction there was. But Arizona, let's see what they had to move. They're on the clock. The pick is apparently in. Let's see who they have selected with this particular draft pick, as this has been. So they've traded 6 for 12 and 34. So Lions picked up an extra second round pick in this draft. So let's see who the Arizona Cardinals they trade up. I mean, Jalen Carter is here. I imagine that he will be the draft pick that they end up using and taking here. I think if you're the Arizona Cardinals, this makes a lot of sense because you have the opportunity now, because you traded back and you gain future draft capital, you can sacrifice this year's draft capital to move up and get the guy you want. If Jalen Carter is the guy you want, he feels a major need for this team. So yeah, if you roll the dice, so 12 and 34 is the way that trade works out. Let me just go into the Arizona Cardinals back over here. Wow. So the Arizona Cardinals traded up. So the Arizona Cardinals have traded up in this year's draft, and with that draft pick, they take Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle out of Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, this is a good football player. Trading up, I don't know. I think you could have gotten somebody else at 12. He's 6 foot, 310 pounds. He ticks all the physical boxes. He really did show out at the combine. He only allowed 14 pressures on 449 pass blocking snaps, which is a pretty crazy amount. So yeah, that's some pretty wild transaction right there. You have the Arizona Cardinals now with Paris Johnson Jr. Let's take a look at some of his game tape as we. And this also addresses a major need for this team. He's not in this package. Hold on a second. So let's take a look at some game tape on Paris Johnson Jr. as we try to see. Paris Johnson Jr. is there. This is a game against Notre Dame. They clearly dominated, as we see a tight end, pancake blocks, really taking care of business there. As member of the Ohio State Buckeyes, guarding, defending C.J. Stroud. He did play guard for a majority of his college career. Only switched over to tackle this most recent season, and played pretty damn well as the guard there for that particular team. Oh man, I can't. But man, good to see Paris Johnson Jr. Good to see offensive tackle here going at 6. And good for the Detroit Lions. I mean, they pick up a bunch of more draft capital. This is kind of what you needed to do if you are them. So that's some good stuff there. The Las Vegas Raiders are back on the clock now at number 7. Their major team needs there a cornerback, corner, offensive tackle, and defensive line. This is a team that, yes, we understand that they did, bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm not totally sold that he is the quarterback of the future. I think he's more of a stopgap guy that's only going to be there for, just a little bit longer. Probably just the one season, if I'm being completely honest with you. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. If I'm making a prediction here, I think Will Levis is probably going to be the pick. I think eventually you have to plan for the future if you're Las Vegas. I do not think the quarterback of the future is on this roster, and I do not think that the Las Vegas Raiders that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the future quarterback position here. And the Raiders, you got to feel pretty good about yourself. I mean, if you're able to get a Will Levis at 7 without having to trade up or if you give up future draft capital, you got to feel pretty good about that prospect and the way that worked out. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about the draft so far. It's been a pretty wild, like for real, it's been a pretty wild first round so far. Like a lot of player movement, a lot of just moving pieces that, I guess I didn't necessarily see coming. I definitely didn't see the Houston Texans trading back up into the first round, at least not this early in the first round, to get the guy that they wanted. But I mean, if you are, and I also didn't see Arizona potentially like moving back up into the first round after trading out with the Houston Texans. But if if you want the guy you want, I mean, you have to go and get him. He's not going to wait. He's not going to wait around to end up in your lap. So this is the only way you can get players that you really want. Let me go ahead and finish sharing the rest of this show as I do. But this is also a Las Vegas Raider team that during the entire era of Derek Carr football has been woeful on defense. Like, so they haven't been able to rely on themselves in playing defense. I think that's been one of the bigger downfalls of this franchise. The defense has regularly finished outside of the top 10, outside of the top 15 while they had Derek Carr. That's just really not going to get it done. If you want to compete, especially in a division where you have a Justin Herbert, where you have a Patrick Mahomes, and now where you have a Russell Wilson, like you have to be able to get stopped consistently. And I just don't think the defense just hasn't been able to get that done. Basically, since they traded away Khalil Mack, they've always kind of been looking for a guy that's going to be. I mean, they gave Chandler Jones a bunch of money this offseason. That didn't really work out as intended. So let's see if I can figure out who the next pick is going to be. Apparently, the pick is in for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just waiting to hear for it. Just going through my timeline, my pipeline here. See if I can find somebody who has that pick leaked before it is made. But if I'm a betting man, which I am not a betting man whatsoever, I rarely ever gamble. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think Will Levis will be the pick of the Las Vegas Raiders. So, and we'll see. I mean, they got to be, if they do end up getting the quarterback they want, they didn't have to trade out draft capital. I think that would be a really good, ideal situation for everybody involved. We'll see if it ends up working out that way. Last time I tried to share the show, I had to stop because there was breaking news while I was sharing it. Like the As soon as they started like, oh hey, I'm going to share the show real quick. The Arizona Cardinals traded with the Detroit Lions. So let's see. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but we'll see. I mean, that'd be another way to go. I mean, Jalen Carter. I mean, they could take Christian Gonzalez, who's arguably the best corner in this year's draft. Depending on what your opinion is of the way things pan out. Let's see if I can find the pick here. I think there are a lot of different ways. This is a team that has a lot of holes. Realistically, this is a team that could go a crazy amount of different ways. The pick is in for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders have taken edge out of Texas Tech. Tyree Wilson. So, the pick is in for the Las Vegas Raiders. They have made Tyree Wilson the edge out of Texas Tech, the 7th overall pick in this year's NFL draft. This is a guy who, as we talked about with Izzy just a little while ago. I mean, the guy has all the intangibles you want out of a guy who's going to be 6'6". He's got 271 pounds. He benched 23 times. His wingspan is 84, which is in the 84th percentile. He's just a mammoth of a human being. He had a million quarterback hurries. Look, it's my cat. Not right now, Pace. But yes, in 2022 as a senior, he played 238 snaps. He had 37 tackles, 15 assists, and 32 stops. As a pass rusher, he tackled 50 total pressures. That's 5 a game, roughly. 32 quarterback hits, 10 quarterback hits, and 8 sacks on the season. On a defense, Texas Tech really wasn't all that good. So you could really hone in on Tyree Wilson. You could literally make him the focal point of your game plan and be like, yeah, this is the guy we got to stop. This is the way we're going to play. And he still was able to put up big numbers out of the pass rush position, even with all of that stuff kind of going against him. Let's take a look at some of his game tape as I wait for Izzy to return to me back in the show. His game tape he kind of jumps out of the screen when you watch some of his game tape here. Hold on, sorry. I thought I had his game tape. I do not. So I have to go get it from somewhere else. I apologize. It's taking me longer than I would have liked. So let's take a quick look at his highlights, and then we'll go ahead and get ready for the next pick. I do think it's very, very interesting that this guy ended up going earlier than. So it's just a commercial play. He was way interesting that he ended up going earlier than Jalen Carter. I would not have predicted that. I didn't predict that in any of my mock drafts. So I did 3 mock drafts this year. But yeah, Tyree Wilson, look at that. The speed that he plays with, the versatility. I mean, you can line him inside, outside. I mean, there are just not that many guys in the NFL that can play like this. And so this is a big win for a team that needed defensive help for a long time. They've really needed it basically since they've had Derek Carr. And kudos to them for noticing it. I mean, you're obviously going to roll with Jimmy Garoppolo. There's still an opportunity where you can take a headed hooker this offseason or in the later draft, or even the kid from Tanner McKee, the kid from Stanford. Or they could even, roll the dice and see if they can end up with Drake May or the kid from USC, Caleb Williams, in this upcoming draft. Moving on over to now, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons, who are now on the clock. Sorry. Atlanta Falcons are now on the clock. Their major needs are edge, cornerback, defensive line, and running back. This is the 8th overall pick in this year's draft. They have a bunch of ways they could go. This is another team that seems to be married to the idea that Desmond Ridder is going to be the starter. They actually have a pretty solid offensive line there in Atlanta, which is not really a lot you could say about many of the teams in the NFL where the offensive line is a strength. But it is for the Atlanta Falcons. They really do have a strong offensive line. This is the 8th overall pick in this year's draft. If you want to let me know down in the comments section, what do you think they'll end up doing with this year's draft? I would love to hear some analysis or some interesting opinions as we go through this process. I think I'm banned from sharing. So, but as we wait for Atlanta, the quarterback room, they got AJ Terrell, who's been a really nice, really good player for them actually since they drafted him. Wasn't as good this season as he was the year prior. But that's kind of the ups and downs of taking a young corner. They kind of have to grow edge. This has been a position they really need. The edge that they have now, Grady Jarrett, is not getting any younger. He's eventually going to retire, I'm assuming. This is actually a pretty prime Jalen Carter spot if I'm a betting man. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm really not a betting man. Let's see what the Twitter sphere says with this pick going down for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think Sham has gotten completely out of the draft business here for this year. I think after what happened with the Arizona Cardinals pick, I think he's tapped out. So it's okay. Anyway, let's go swing back into the NFL draft. See if we can see any updates here for the Atlanta Falcons. Waiting for the pick to come in here. And as we just mentioned on ESPN, they've only had 39 sacks in the last 2 years. That's the lowest in the National Football League. I mean, Jalen Carter would make a lot of sense given the fact that he went to the University of Georgia. Christian Gonzalez. So we'll see. We'll have to wait for the commissioner. Oh, the Eagles. The Eagles have traded. The Eagles have traded with the Bears. Here we go. Atlanta. And I have heard a rumor that the Philadelphia Eagles have traded up with the Chicago Bears. They will now be on the clock at pick number 9. The Falcons have taken Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. That's from Ian Rappaport. I am not shocked at that pick at all. Let's be breaking news. Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas, going to the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, they have solid running backs there in Cordell Patterson. They also have the kid from Ball State. But Bijan Robinson is a once-in-a-generational type talent. And as I mentioned earlier, the Philadelphia Eagles have traded up with the Chicago Bears. They will now be taking the pick instead of the Chicago Bears. We just gotta wait for that trade to be quote unquote official. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock as they have traded with the Chicago Bears. I do not know what that draft capital is just yet. But looking at Bijan Robinson, he's a once-in-a-generational type running back talent. The dude is he is built to play running back in the National Football League. 5'11", 5'11", 21 years old, 215 pounds. He basically did all the measurables that you were looking for. The overall grade 21. Basically was a difference maker for the Longhorn. 1,500 yards in 257, 6.1 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns. He made 19 catches, so he could get better in the reception game for 314 yards. But Bijan Robinson, man, is a big-time running back and a big-time talent. You love to see that kind of stuff right there out of the running back position. Because, a lot of the times, we talk about this on shows previous, the running back position gets so undervalued now. Like nobody's willing to take a running back. But if you're like, and you got the Arthur Smith there, who's a disciple from the Tennessee Titans, who's a guy that, they basically built that entire offense that he was the brainchild for there for the Tennessee Titans around Derrick Henry. And you get a guy who's maybe even better than Derrick Henry right now, and you can build your whole offense around him. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, so I think because of the way things have shaken out here, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are trading up, and I think it's pretty obvious what they want to do with their trade up. Let's take a quick dance over here at Bijan Robinson, some of his highlights. You can see why the Atlanta Falcons are pretty high on him. They wanted him. He can really, split defenders, run through cuts. He can straight line speed. Let's take a look at one more highlight, and then we can move over into it. So here we go. At the goal line, he has a nose for the end zone. He's just a straight up difference maker when it comes to the offensive position, and he's better than any of the other running backs that were currently on the team. Here we go against Alabama, a big time game. He just finishes through contact, doesn't avoid it, puts big hits on people. You got to love that kind of stuff out of the quarterback, out of the running back position. This is why you draft a guy in the top 10. And now also in Atlanta, you have all of those skill position guys that are just, chomping at the bit to get the football. You have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London. Like those are all good football players that are all going to be valuable down the stretch. So kudos to them. And then the Eagles, yes, they are now on the clock as they have traded up with the Chicago Bears. My Chicago Bears, actually. And they are now picking at the 9th overall pick with Jalen Carter still on the board. Package Jalen Carter up with Jordan Davis could be one of the best duos, defensive tackle duos, maybe ever, if they can both pan out right. So I'll try to see if I can find the draft capital that's been announced for this particular trade. As I can only do so much though, so hold on a second. All right, so they gave up 10 and a 4th round pick next year to move up to 9. They gave up one. So basically, they gave up 1 4th round pick to move up 1 spot. That's actually not terrible value when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, especially if you think. I think the Bears were poised to take Jalen Carter. Am I totally sure? Am I totally sold on that the Bears should have traded away this pick in order to gain an extra 4th round pick next year? I don't get it. I don't really like that. I don't know.
Did Philly just trade up with the Bears?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I just read out the details on that trade. So the Eagles are giving up 10, which is the pick right after this, and a 4th next year to move up to 1 spot.
That's I mean, the Bears were going to go Jalen Carter.
I mean, unless the Bears were absolutely not going to trade Jalen Carter, like if he was not going to be the pick, I get it. But if he was going to be the pick, I'm not sure a 4th round pick is enough compensation for me to not take him.
No, I
don't know.
I would have been like, okay, you moving up? We're gonna swap. Give me a 4th. And next year's 3rd or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, this year's 3rd. I mean, I'm not gonna trade you for future draft capital. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't personally.
Who does Philly go with this pick? Who do you think that they absolutely
Jalen Carter? They're taking Jalen Carter. I think they were worried that he was going to be a Bear. They're like, let's trade up. Let's not even worry about it. He's going to take it to Jalen Carter.
Oh, Jalen Carter is already the pick. Okay, we got it.
And I was mentioning, like, if you put Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter together, like that could be one of the most dominant duos ever.
It was in
I
college.
mean, if they ever pan out to being the players that you want them to be, let me just look to see, make sure that's official. Where'd you see that from?
It from Shams. It was in college though.
I thought
I got it. No, not Shams. I got it from a guy named Albert Breer. Bleacher Report reported it. Albert Breer. He's gonna get his Twitter shut down too. He better stop, Albert. You better stop.
So I got to confirm now. So I got it from Ian Rappaport. We can officially confirm it. Let's go with the music. Break it out. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Georgia, is the pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. How do you like that? We're breaking picks before even ESPN has them on the board. That's why you watch Prime Sports World, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Jalen Carter.
I love.
You combine it with Jordan Davis. I mean, I love this. And I love the mindset of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, if the Bears are taking this guy, we're gonna trade over you. We're gonna give you some BS later pick, and we're just gonna have our way. And this is why teams like the Philadelphia Eagles play chess while everybody else in the NFL plays checkers. Like, it's just smart roster construction. A 4th round pick next year, who cares?
No, absolutely. And you're getting one of the most a guy that's highly regarded. He was going to be a top 3 pick or a top 5 pick before the off the field stuff happened and before his pro day, which I think played into what the off the field. So I think he was just not all there. But with that being said, he's teaming up with his old college buddy and Jordan Davis. A year removed, they were part of the most dominant defense in college football history in recent memory. They are looking to have that same effect here at the pro level, the Philadelphia Eagles. He also does not only Jordan Davis, but Nakobe Dean as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you're literally getting 3 of the main key cog pieces. Can you imagine if they trade up and get Keely Ringo as well? It'd be like Georgia 2, Georgia, the pro, because I mean, look, Georgia was as close to a pro defense in the college football as any other defense in the league. I mean, in the nation. So
yeah, you take a look at some of his highlights, man. He just jumps off the board, like the clips. Just really jumps off the page out of you.
That's a big boy.
Number 88 right there. But yeah, he just splits that. He just splits that double team. It puts the hurt on Steve Clifford or whoever that Utah State quarterback. This is up against the game against USC defender against Missouri. And he just closes that hole. Like, that just shuts it.
The Bears pick is in. I wonder what the Bears are picking.
Well, let's jump back into the graphics here. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears.
I mean, that's what the ESPN says. But I mean, this is an excellent pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think, Fletcher Cox getting old, Brandon Graham getting old. You got to start getting some new faces in there. You got to start, replacing some of those guys that won you a Super Bowl some years ago, and that have been key cogs for you for the last 8 to 10 years or so. So you got to start replacing those guys, and they have been replacing those guys on the Eagles defense. So kudos to the Eagles for jumping up, for getting their guy, because they knew the Bears were going to go grab. They knew the Bears were going to grab him.
So talking about the Chicago Bears, they're on the clock now, as they have the 10th overall pick, and they picked up some future draft capital. Their major needs are on the screen: offensive tackle, defensive line, edge, and interior offensive lineman.
This is Peter Skoronski.
I mean, unless they're like in love with somebody else, unless they've fallen in love with like Darnell Wright, the kid from Tennessee, or they've fallen in love with Cyrus Torrance, who's probably the best guard in this draft by a long mile. I mean, unless they've fallen in love with one of these corners or one of these wide receivers, they think Jackson Smith and Jigba is the only guy here. I can't imagine them going
I did say Christian Gonzalez would go to the Bears in my mock draft, right? I did do that. If he does go, the Bears have a hell of a trio of cornerbacks there. You got the kid Jalen Johnson. You'll have Christian Gonzalez, and you have the kid from Washington. I forget his name. Godly, his name's mistaken.
I got Brisker. Brisker plays safety, so it's got to be.
It's not Trent McDuffie, is it? Or not McDuffie.
No, Kyler Gordon. Trent
Gordon.
McDuffie is the guy who plays for Kansas City.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie plays. So Kyler Gordon, he's from Washington, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's from Washington.
Correct.
So,
and you're building a pretty good secondary there with Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, who had a really good rookie season. Like that's a pretty solid 5 tree.
Christian Gonzalez, that's hard to pass up.
I mean, especially at 10. I mean, that'd be some immense value.
That
for
is a
guy.
steal there.
Yeah.
That is a steal. And then I think with some of the capital that they can get a solid because they got an early pick in the second round, right? So they can but
it's not like, so they traded away the really early pick for Claypool, and I think the jury's still out on that decision. But
that would have been key. Man, it's so hard, man.
I'm gonna say I think it's going to be Peter Skoronski. I think even though I do think he may be a guard in the NFL, given his size and his arm length. But I mean, the hometown kid. I mean, even though he did grow up as a Packer fan, I think, if I remember reading the reporting correctly, I still think that he would be that makes the most sense for the Chicago Bears. They need offensive, even if he plays guard, even if the future position is guard, like they need guards too. So. I think he had to jump out for a second. Let me see if I can maybe pull through some of the insiders and see if I can find, see if anybody has announced this draft pick before it goes live on TV. I imagine that people that work at ESPN, like Adam Schefter, they've basically been like, hey, don't stop ruining the TV experience, because So the Bears, the breaking news, I have the Bears draft pick. The Bears have taken Darnell Wright, tackle out of Tennessee.
Wowzers! That means my bet didn't hit, and I got one more bet. All my bets didn't hit. That's it. Point blank. Yeah. What was the bet I had earlier, David?
It was Bijan Robinson and Michael Mayer.
And Michael Mayer. Bijan Robinson going to Cowboys and Michael Mayer going to the Packers.
Yeah.
And then I had
Darnell Wright, the tackle out of Tennessee. I know there have been some
judgment in the top 10.
So I know there have been some scouts that have been really high on Darnell Wright, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not sure I would. And apparently the internet says that Darnell Wright would have been the Bears pick at 9, so they pick up they wouldn't have taken Jalen Carter. I'm not sure how much I buy that. But yeah, Darnell Wright is a big offensive lineman. He should be the starting left tackle. You could figure out whatever you're going to do with everybody else on the roster. But yeah, this is a kid that's a good football player, and he played in a pro style offense as well. He's a real big boy.
He's a big boy, and he had some words to say about the media. During his draft process, he didn't like what some of the media members were saying, that he's not fit to be a tackle. He's more of a guard. Stuff like that. He's like, what do they know? You know what I mean? So yeah, I like his fire. I like that he's an excellent pass protector. I mean, Justin Fields was getting killed there in Chicago.
That's true. I mean, you had to address the offensive line at some point. But
cannot believe that Christian Gonzalez has fallen out the top 10 and Will Levis has fallen out the top 10. I just cannot believe this right now.
Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm shocked that Will Levis fell out of the top 10,
but Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, I thought Christian Gonzalez was going to be the first corner taken in this year's draft. Like, I thought he was better than Weatherspoon, and I just thought he was. And like, the fact that he's still there on the board is pretty surprising to me.
That is incredible. Incredible. But the Bears are getting a solid one in Darnell Wright. I mean, when you look at Tennessee, I mean, that team was on the precipice of going to the CFP until Hendon Hooker went down with a knee injury, and Spencer Rattler in South Carolina were playing out there. It was LSU got him before that, but South Carolina was the one that ended him. Hendon Hooker season.
But you can see 58 right here.
He's a big boy. He's a nasty boy.
I mean,
He's nasty.
He's like legit pancake blocking people. Like
he's nasty with it, man. He's nasty. And I mean, you gotta look at the tape against Will Anderson too. I mean,
we just saw some of it right there. Here's 58,
he's
58
doing
31.
really freaking well. I mean, look at it. Look at that. He's pass protecting. I mean, look, he covered the stunt really well there. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of that stuff in the NFL.
I mean, that's hands of the face right there.
Look at it.
So yeah. Here's another 58 going up against 33. Another edge rusher, clearly puts him in the like. That's good. That's
I think
good.
That might be Bogle. That might be Bogle at Florida, but Chris Bogle, who I think is going to be an excellent prospect too.
Yeah.
This Darnell Wright kid, he's nasty. I think he's gonna be. The Bears are gonna like that pick.
Moving on from there, let's talk about the Tennessee Titans on the clock. Their major needs there on the screen: offensive tackle, quarterback, wide receiver, interior offensive lineman. Will Levis is here. Do you take him?
There's no excuses. Just go ahead and get him.
I think so. They only have 2 quarterbacks currently on their roster, which means they have a roster spot open for one more. I think they're not. I don't think they like Malik Willis. I don't think he's part of their future plans. I think if they could get value for him in a trade, I think they would trade him away because I just don't think he's going to be the answer there in Tennessee. If I was Tennessee, I think I'd be on the phone with a team maybe like the Washington Commanders to see if maybe they want to trade up. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think they have a lot of need. I mean, Peter Skoronski's still here. I mean, the offensive lineman is still a major need no matter who the quarterback is.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. I think that they can go with Broderick Jones or Peter Skoronski here. In terms of what offensive lineman they want, or if they're not too sold on Malik Willis, they can go with Will Levis. I think pulling a plug on a guy like Malik Willis is kind of early, in my opinion. I mean you give him 1 year.
The thing is, I mean, they clearly didn't think he was even worthy of starting. I mean, who are they rolling out? I mean, was it Jack Johnson?
Ryan Tannehill?
No, I mean at the end of this,
Dotson.
Dotson.
Josh
Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs. Yeah.
I mean, they were given snaps to Josh Dobbs over the guy they drafted in the 3rd round. I mean, Josh Dobbs is a part of their future plans. Even if you thought you were going to try to make
play calling was different too when he came in there. The play calling was just run. Let's use Malik Willis. So I guess as a passer, they don't think he's all the way there. But I mean, Malik Willis is a former 5-star recruit. I mean, he transferred from Auburn to Liberty. I mean, he's a guy that is athletic. He's going along with the trend of what NFL teams are doing with mobile quarterbacks that have a strong arm. I mean, I would be kind of shocked if they moved on from Malik Willis this early, but I wouldn't be at the same time because I think a guy like Will Levis falling to you at number 11, who was arguably going to be projected, he's got all the intangibles. When
Peyton Manning comes out and gives you the praise that Peyton Manning gave him, you
gotta take that. You gotta take that.
The Tennessee Titans pick is in. I'm just waiting to hear see if I can get it off of one of these insiders before I make the announcement. Before they make the announcement on ESPN, because that's the point of watching it here at Prime Sports World. You get the pick before it comes on TV. We've been like 50-50 so far of getting the pick before it ends up on TV. So I'll take them odds.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't even looked at Twitter here. I've just been.
I got 2 main cogs that I kind of look after when it comes to Twitter and stuff like this. I got the pick. So the breaking news from Prime Sports World. You're hearing it here first. Peter Skoronski is the pick for the Tennessee Titans. The tackle out of
Excellent pick. I totally agree. I love that pick.
He's probably the safest pick in this year's left for the Tennessee Titans because you kind of know what he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be a great guard or he's going to be a great tackle. Like there's no. I don't think there's much doubt that he's going to be a good football player, right?
No, I think he's going to be an excellent football player, and he's versatile, right? So you can put him at guard, you can put him at tackle. I mean, What's his height again, David? He's not like a 6'6" guy. He's like 6'3".
1 second.
Something in between 6'3", 6'4", which isn't prototypical for a tackle because you want your tackles to be long arms, athletic, because you're going against one of the more athletic players on the field.
Peter Skronsky's 6'4". I mean, he's still not a small human being.
He's not small at all.
No. The thing that people were caught up on in the combine is how short his arms were. Like,
that's big. That's actually big, though.
His arm was in the 9th percentile when it comes to arm length.
That's big though. That's big though. When your arms are when the defensive end can get his arms on you before you can, that's huge at the NFL level. So I can agree. I can see why. But he dropped right where we thought he would go.
He went into Ohio State. I mean, he played 881 snaps while playing in the Big Ten. Gave up 3 quarterback hurries, 2 quarterback hits, and 1 sack while playing left tackle in the Big Ten. Like that's good production out of a guy who's going to be at the very least a good guard in the NFL.
Yes, that's incredible in my opinion. That is incredible, especially with the guys that you're going against. Especially like Michigan, where they had Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, whoever's on Ohio State.
Well, he didn't play. I don't think he played. I don't think he played
2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think he played left tackle last year. I think he specifically played left tackle this season. I think he played left guard the season before.
Those the season before. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we thought he would go anyways. 11, 10, maybe with the Bears. 9. Well, the Bears had 9, but we thought he'd go the Eagles or the Titans. So I think this is a good pick for Tennessee. This tells you that they're not moving on from Malik Willis. And I thought that. And I think what they'll do is they'll roll with Malik Willis one more year. They know that Malik Willis may not get it done next year. And then next season, the draft after next season will be the quarterback class is going to be sick.
Yeah.
You're going to have
3-4
quarterbacks.
because you're probably going to roll with Ryan Tannehill anyways this next upcoming season. And then if Malik Willis doesn't really work out, you can always draft somebody. The Titans I don't think they're going to be good this season. So.
No, I don't think they'll be good.
So the Detroit Lions are about to make their pick. So let's jump back into the conversation here. We kind of talked about the Lions a little bit before they made their other pick. Wow! The Lions just took Jahmyr Gibbs.
Why would they go ahead and why would they do that? Why would they do that? That's so stupid. You already have David Montgomery. You already have Jamal Williams. You already have DeAndre.
Well, Jamal Williams is a Saint.
He's a Saint. Okay, yeah, you're right. But still, you still have DeAndre Swift. You still have David Montgomery. Why are you adding a third running back for? What is the purpose of that? If you're going to add an offensive person, add Jackson Smith and Jugba, like I said, or go get Michael Mayer. You need a tight end. You just got rid of T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
So I don't agree. I don't understand why you're taking Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy that you could have gotten maybe in the second round. You could have moved up in the second round and got Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't understand this pick. The line. This is. I expect the Raiders to do something like this. Okay?
The Raider Ridge.
I don't expect. Especially when you got Christian Gonzalez there still.
Yeah, a major team need. But the thing is, they do have another pick coming up here at 18. So they could. If Christian Gonzalez continues to fall, or they could even, because of all the different draft capital they've acquired already in this draft, they could trade back up and get the guy that they want.
I don't get it. I honestly, I am baffled at these damn Detroit Lions right now.
I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty shocked. I did not think 2 running backs were going to go in the first round of this year's draft.
I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I believe he transferred from Memphis, if I'm not mistaken, to Bama. I like Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not taking him with the 12th overall pick.
No,
hell no.
Me either.
Not taking him with the 12th overall pick, especially when guys like Christian Gonzalez are still there. Guys like who's another edge rusher?
Not to mention this is
kid Callie Cansey's still there.
This is their first pick of the draft. Because they traded out
Jackson
of
Smith and
6.
Jug was still there. What are you doing?
I don't understand this decision. Let's talk about some of the good decisions. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is still a good running back. Let's talk about some of the good.
He's a good running back.
Let's talk about some of his good intangibles instead of we're trashing him a little bit because of the decision. But I mean, he does do some stuff really well, right?
Shout out to the young man. Shout out to the young man, Jahmyr Gibbs. He is a tough as nails running back. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside. He's a little short. I mean, he's like what 5'9", 5'10", but I mean, who cares? He's like a little bowling ball. I mean, he's got wiggle to him. He's got great change of direction, great change of pace. He can catch the ball
and a backfield. 103 passes for 1,200 yards and 8 scores in 3 seasons at Georgia Tech and Alabama.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. That's where he went. Georgia Tech. I said Memphis. Yeah. So I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that can do it all. I mean, I understand why, but I understand why a team would want him, but I just don't understand the Lions getting him. With the guy, they already have a guy like that in DeAndre Swift, unless they're like saying, okay.
I mean, unless they just don't expect DeAndre Swift to be healthy ever again.
Ever again. Like, I think this is like an insurance policy type of deal. You could have got that in the second round, in my opinion, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, they could have taken the kid from UCLA. But let's talk about the next pick. Let's talk about your apparently the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. I think they have traded up with Houston Texans.
This might be Jackson Smith and Jugwell. I'll be happy if this, my bets are off the table. I don't care. I'll be happy if this is Michael Mayer or Jackson Smith and Jugwell. I'll be happy if this is Michael Mayer or Jackson Smith and Jugwell right here.
Hold on a second. So I'm a pick behind, actually. So this is Green Bay. They did not trade up. So the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. They have the 13th pick. Their team needs tight end, wide receiver, edge, and safety. This is your squad. What do you think they're going to end up doing with this pick? I completely forgot. I didn't remove the Texans.
I was looking at Michael Parsons. He almost walked out the stage. He's like, damn. They got Jalen Carter with N'Kobe Dean, Hunter Cox, and all those guys. He's like, oh my God, what the hell? Okay. The Green Bay Packers, right here, I think they have to go offense. You got to go offense. Unless they say Christian Gonzalez.
I mean, I
don't want that pick. I would like them to get weapons around Jordan Love. So either go Jackson Smith and Jugwell here or go Michael Mayer here. Those are my 2 picks I would love first. If they don't love those guys, then edge is another need that they really need. Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. I could see him going here for the Green Bay Packers because they need an edge. They need pressure. I mean, Rashawn Gary's coming off of injury. I know he'll be ready for
Broderick Jones is still there. I mean, you need to.
Broderick Jones is still there.
I mean, you need to build this team. You
can go ahead and replace Amos as well, and go get Brian Branch from Alabama here at safety. There's a multitude of ways that they can go.
That feels early to me, but I wouldn't be
right.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't be shocked if they did that.
I think they go Jackson Smith.
Who knows? I got the pick. Lucas Van Ness is the pick for the Green Bay Packers.
I like it. I like it.
Edge rusher out of Iowa.
I like it because they need an edge rusher. They need to get quarterback.
I know, but this just feels like
they were one of the worst in the league.
This just feels like they're setting up Jordan Love similar to how they set up Aaron Rodgers, not taking weapons. So yeah, Lucas Van Ness, the edge out of Iowa, is the pick for the Green Bay Packers. He's an.
You know what, David? You know what, David? I'm glad you said that because they are. I thought that they would change.
The narrative has not changed. Like they're still not supporting their young quarterback. They're literally putting him in the exact same situation.
Hate the pick.
No, I mean it's not bad. I just look when you look at it's not a sexy pick for sure. But like when you look at the board, I mean, Broderick Jones is still there. Michael Mayer is still there. I mean, you even have, I think Miles Murphy is a better edge rusher than Lucas Van Ness.
Van Ness. Yeah, I honestly agree.
Nolan Smith has a higher upside than Lucas Van Ness. I mean, Dalton Kincaid, I mean, the guy is still there. I mean, no wide receivers been taken yet in this year's draft. This seems like you're.
I mean, you guys are. I mean, the Packers are going to roll out. They believe Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson and whoever the hell they have at tight end is going to be something. I mean, I don't. You can see the frustration on my face just because I labeled out the first two guys. There was two guys that I really, really wanted to be a Packer, and they didn't grab them. And I said the third guy that I was like, okay, I'll be okay with it. But now the more that I'm sitting here, the more I'm like you got a young quarterback coming in, man. You need weapons, man. What are you guys doing? You got to keep up with the Detroit Lions. You got to keep up with the Minnesota Vikings. The edge rusher ain't going to score touchdowns, okay?
He might. I mean, depending on how good he is.
Maybe. One touchdown, maybe. No, I get it. They're in the bottom half of the league in edge rushers and quarterback pressures. And
we got some of his highlights on the screen right here, so let's take a look. He does bring some intangible. He's a big boy, as we like to say here at Prime Sports World.
He's massive.
He's blocking a kick.
Freak. Look how big that boy is, man.
He's got the motor that you look for out of the defensive end position. This is a guy. He's probably going to play for you guys for 10 years.
He's probably going to be. He's going to be a day one starter right off bat.
Okay.
I mean, he could play. He could play one of the interior line positions too. I mean, he doesn't have to be. He can switch. He could play. Whatever.
46 pressures and 261 pass snaps this most recent season. He can bull rush, unique strength and flexibility.
James is trying to join, but
I know I can't add him for whatever reason.
His devices aren't connected.
Correct.
Man, honestly, I just
also breaking news out of here in Prime Sports World. The Pittsburgh Steelers have traded up with the New York Jets to move up.
This is Joey Porter Jr. right here.
The Patriots have traded up with the Pittsburgh Steelers to make this next pick. So let's go ahead and jump back into the graphics as I try to navigate this.
So wait, the Patriots are making this pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes. So the Patriots,
this is going to be Joey Porter Jr.
You think?
I have a feeling this is going to be Joey Porter Jr. You know why, Christian? I told you.
But I don't necessarily.
Christian Gonzalez I don't fall, man.
I don't necessarily think they need to trade.
Why.
I don't necessarily think they needed to trade up to get Joey Porter Jr. I think because of the way the board is falling, they could have gotten him regardless.
But David, I told you, Christian Gonzalez. You're like, I can't believe he's falling in my draft. I'll tell you why he's falling. Because I'm telling you right now, those tall, lanky, they saw something at Oregon. And I saw it too. And I know he's fast, straight line, 40 yards dash speed. I know he's fast, quick as hell. But I'm telling you, something about those tall guys, I don't think he's the greatest open field tackler, in my opinion. I think he's a great zone coverage cornerback. I don't think he's a great man-to-man coverage cornerback. I think he's good. I don't think he's great at that. I think he's a great zone guy. But I think he'll project as a faster Richard Sherman, which is good. It's all hell.
Yeah.
But
welcome to the show real quick. Our resident Phoenix Suns fan, Mr. Matthew James. Welcome to the show.
I'm going to hop off for a quick second, guys. Yeah, 2 minutes.
They're good. So let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers who are now on the clock. We and you can talk about the Bears at a later time. We're now on the Pittsburgh Steelers who've traded up to pick number 14 with the New England Patriots. They are now on the clock. Their major needs: corner, offensive tackle, defensive line, and edge. What do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what do you think their mindset is for reasons why they traded up in this year's draft?
Honestly, I mean, there could be so much.
I just lost you there for. So I got the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be breaking news here just in a second. The pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the reason that they decided to move up in this draft is because they thought the teams coming up to them were going to take this guy. So breaking news here from Prime Sports World. Matt James, I still cannot hear you. Let's go with the graphic noise. And then let's switch up the graphics. So Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia, is the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
So Broderick Jones, the tackle out of Georgia, is the pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just broke down here world. Bully of an offensive tackle, an 84.1 pass blocking grade from Pro Football Focus as a member of the Georgia Bulldogs, and addresses a major team need for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they needed an offensive line help for the longest time.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, Broderick Jones. I mean, he was high on my list for the Bears themselves to trade down to get, and I think this is a great pick for Pittsburgh to help solidify their line and help protect Pickett in the future here. So I had Broderick Jones high on my list, and I love the toughness he has and the techniques he's got. So that's a great pick.
6'5", 311 pounds. He ran a 4.97 in the 40-yard dash, which is absurd for a man at 311 pounds.
Yeah,
that is lightning fast. He's probably the best athlete.
I love the pick for Pittsburgh. You said you hit the nail right on the head, David. They need offensive line. They've been needing offensive line help for the last couple of years, even when Big Ben was there, getting smashed up. Yeah, I like Broderick Jones. I had him high up there too. I think I had him up there with like a Paris Johnson, up there, like in terms of his intangibles, in terms of his athleticism at the tackle position. He's gonna be a really good tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers, barring injury.
Yeah. So, the New York Jets are about to be on the clock too. So the Pittsburgh, they needed to, the Pittsburgh Steelers have needed to do this for a few, even when Ben Roethlisberger was there. So they finally addressed a major need to the Patriots. Oh man, I forgot to keep deleting these graphics out here. I'm sorry. 1 second.
Is 14 the Jets here?
The Jets are on the clock at 15. I apologize. Moving on to the Jets at number 15. Obviously, they have this pick because they traded Aaron Rodgers to the Green Bay Packers. Their major need is clearly offensive tackle, which is, I think, the reason Pittsburgh was so incentivized to trade up in this year's draft, because they know a bunch of teams coming up after them, between them and the Patriots, all could take tackles. You remember around mock drafts, I had a run on tackles between here and there. But yeah, the Jets are on the clock. They just trade for Aaron Rodgers. They do have some weapons there on offense already at the running back position and the wide receiver position. Some good depth there. What do you think the Jets need to do here at offensive line, or at 14 or 15? Sorry.
Well, in my opinion, I think the Jets should go offensive line. I forget who was the kid that. Is it Mekhi Becton?
Mekhi Becton can't stay healthy. They got Dwayne Brown, who's in the back end of his career.
Yes, so they need offensive line help bad.
Poor Will Levis. He's having like an Aaron Rodgers slide right now for real.
It's all good because he's gonna prove him wrong. Will Levis is gonna prove him wrong. Man, who is the best offensive tackle available? Is it like I think right here you got to go like Osiris Torrance. I mean,
the guard. I mean, I don't
maybe,
really.
Guard. I mean,
the kid from Ohio, Antoine Harrison, the kid from Oklahoma, is probably the best tackle available.
Yes,
the kid from Ohio State, Dwayne Jones. It feels like that would be a reach if you were to take him here.
Dwayne Jones is definitely a reach.
At 30, he's the 31th rated prospect. I mean, I think that would be a wild reach. Osiris Torrance is the best guard in this year's draft. I think Antoine Harrison should be the pick of the New York Jets, unless they're really gung-ho.
Unless they say, "Hey, we're gonna go get Jackson Smith and Jug. We'll pair him up with Garrett Wilson."
I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense.
Rodgers.
I mean, they could use edge rusher.
They can't keep listening to that. The guy, he came in his press conference. He came in his press conference high off of Hayashika talking about for the Jets.
You know what you should do. You know what they should do. You know what they should do. They should draft Will Levis.
That would be
perfect.
That would be hilarious if they draft Will Levis. Just a backup plan, just in case you bounce after
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
year.
yeah. We're gonna draft
You know?
your replacement just in case you decide not to.
Yeah, just
Give
in
it
case,
the
brother,
old Brett Favre and just bounce after a short period of time
I
here.
mean, it was-
What about
well,
Brian Branch here? What about Brian Branch here?
I mean, they do need a safety, but I don't think their defense is really the reason they weren't winning games. Their offensive line and their wide. I mean, they need to take
They
offensive
got plenty
linemen.
of weapons.
Yeah, they got plenty of weapons.
Michael Carter, they got.
Yep. I mean, Bryce
they got,
Bryce Hall is going to come back from the
Bryce Hall. Yeah. So
and they have CJ
there.
Ozuma, who's a decent tight end.
They just added Alan Lazard.
Yeah, Alan Lazard, another guy. I mean, they added Nicole Hardman as well. I mean,
Nicole Hardman as well. Yep, along with Garrett Wilson, who had 1,000 yards last year. So I mean, they got weapons. So I think offensive line is where they need to go. I think they do go Osiris Torrance here.
if I was a betting man, that's what I would do. So it looks like real quick update. So New England, they traded back out of 14. They've gotten 17, and they got a 4th round selection out of that trade. I'm not sure that's great value, but so they moved down 3 spots and they added a 4th round pick. I don't know. Who knows? New England.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw the Bears trade. They only got a 4th rounder out of that.
Yeah, I talked about that at length when it first happened.
Okay, I just saw the actual trade here.
I'm
kind of catching up here.
I kind of hated it.
So I don't like that trade. They could have got more.
He hated the trade. So you don't like the kid from Tennessee?
That's not what I'm saying. I just didn't like only getting a 4th round back. I mean, if you take Jalen Carter, he's right there. Just take him. But back to the Jets. Let's continue talking about the Jets. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick. How much better does Aaron Rodgers make this Jets team?
They're going to be very competitive.
You're in the same conference.
That's all I can say.
Patty Mahomes. I'm not Patty Mahomes. You're in the same conference as Josh Allen. You're in the same conference as Tua Tagovailoa. You're in the same. Yeah, you're in the same conference as Herbert, Patty Mahomes. I mean, it makes them players, but I'm not sure if they're Super Bowl contenders.
They're for sure not.
It makes them. They might contend for one of the 3 wild card spots. That's all I'll say.
I agree.
They're sure as hell not winning the division. They're sure as hell not winning the AFC East. They're not.
I do not think so either. Let's see if I can scoop this pick real quick.
The Buffalo Bills
the Jets are like pushing on the deadline here.
They're trying to trade it.
They had a defensive rookie of the year. They had a defensive rookie of the year in Sauce Gardner last year.
Yeah,
they had the runner up for the offensive rookie of the year as well.
Yep.
Who's their tight end right now?
CJ Ozoma, and they also drafted the
other
dude that I like too.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, the New York
there's a few guys there, but they don't really need that position. Except for
they need offensive line. I mean,
but they can trade back and still, a few spots and still get somebody.
I don't think they're going to trade back. I think they're making this pick. I think Antoine Harrison will be the guy they end up taking. I think he's the guy that would be the least reach of the guys that are left available at the offensive tackle position. Because we're talking like Dawan Jones. We're talking the kid out of North Dakota State. We're talking the kid out of Syracuse is probably more of a second or third round pick. So hold on, let's see if I can scoop this pick, man.
Does Rodgers want another receiver? I mean, Rodgers wants, Rodgers gets.
Jackson Smith and Jugba. I said that Jackson Smith and Jugba. I mean, they might go that direction, but I mean, we all know Rodgers how he is with the quote unquote.
What Rodgers dropped. What Rodgers wants, Rodgers gets.
No, I mean, that's not.
If he wants 3 receivers in these 3 picks here, he's going to get it.
Like I said, he's getting a shitty veteran in Alan Lazard, McCole Hardman, who couldn't stay on the field. He better start building rapport with Garrett Wilson. Otherwise, it's gonna be a long season for him in New York.
All right, we go. Roger Goodell at the podium right now, making the pick for the New York Jets. It's World Wish Day. I did not have this pick scooped. I think they for some reason this scoop is like really close to the vest. Somebody's got a lot of background noise.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go back to work.
I like the green. I like the green tie, Kyle.
Yeah,
I like the
looks
green
good.
tie.
Hey, man, thanks for jumping on, man. We appreciate it. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
No problem, gentlemen. Have a good one.
You too, man. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Make
There you go, Kyle. Yeah, I wish I could. Yeah.
Make the pick.
With the 15th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets.
Oh, from
Wow.
Iowa State.
Whoa. Wow.
Oh, wow. Hey, you know what? Will McDonald isn't a bad pick, though. I like that kid.
You could have
I
gotten
didn't
him.
Later, but they had offensive line needs. They have an old, frail quarterback who, I mean, if you even sneeze on him wrong, he's out for 2 weeks. So I do not get this pick because defense was the least of their worries, but okay.
He's a 29th rated
Robert
prospect on as opposed to a Pro Football Focus. 236 pounds as an edge rusher out of Iowa State. He could be a speed rusher. This is a bad pick.
This is how it is. This is not a good pick. They needed offensive line help. I think Osiris Torrance would have been the safest pick here.
Like, this guy has question marks. He's got red flags. I just don't think this is the way you should have gone. And he may end up being a fine NFL player. This isn't the direction when you have a team that has an Aaron Rodgers who's getting up there, right? Like, he's not the spring chicken that he used to be.
Unless they're going to move back in the first round and go get a Quentin Johnston, I cannot believe. What is this?
Well,
pick?
I mean, the other thing is, they may just be expecting quarterbacks to. Wide receivers to just fall here. I mean, we're at
is
pick
this
number
the 15th pick?
We're at 15. We haven't had one wide receiver. We had 2 running backs go. Like, that's like literally unheard of.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where the hell is
but
Jackson
the
Smith
thing,
and
but
Jugglad?
I think, but when you talk about this particular selection, I mean, you have Miles Murphy still on the board. You got Nolan Smith still on the board. You got BJ
I would have
Ojolari
picked
still.
those guys over Will McDonald.
I would have even probably taken the kid from Northwestern over Will McDonald. I don't think this is a good pick. I could be wrong. He could end up being a Hall of Fame player. But I think this is a terrible decision. Like, you needed offensive line help. You just trade for Aaron Rodgers. You don't even have probably a first round pick next year, and you don't have your second round pick this year either. Like, when do the Jets even pick again?
Lordy Lord.
Hold on, I got it.
Probably like 3rd or 4th round.
1 second, I can't.
Because didn't they give up their second?
Yeah.
This year? Yeah. So Will McDonald, 5 sacks last year, 23 solo tackles.
So they do have
the
a second round. So they do have their second round pick because they traded for something and they got a second round pick out of it. But they only have 4 picks in this year's draft, 5 technically. So they got the second round. They don't pick again until the 4th round. Like, you have holes in your offense. I think your defense would have been fine. This is a bad decision. Like, I call it what it is. It's a terrible decision. Like, even if like they could have gone another direction, taken a different edge, I think that would have been smarter than the decision they just made.
So let me look at what the Jets depth chart is at edge. I mean, you have Carl Lawson. You drafted Jermaine
Old,
Johnson.
injury prone. Trey Johnson really panned out as a pro.
Jermaine Johnson. I mean, Quentin Williams is defensive tackle. Solomon Thomas is defensive tackle.
He's also not good.
Solomon
Thomas has been a bust.
So yeah, I mean, you could say that they did need edge rusher.
Yeah, sure. But you could say that, but I think their needs were bigger on the offensive end. And this is a team that wants to win now. I mean, you're not winning next year. Like, this is a team that needs to win now. What makes your team better now? An offensive lineman or a random edge rusher? Come on, it's not even close.
That's true. I'm looking up. I'm trying to bring up. I'm trying to bring up Miles Murphy's ESPN here. Trying to bring up his stats here as compared 5 sacks. Miles Murphy last year 6.5 sacks, 22 sacks, 6'5", 275. He's got a little bit more size on him. Will McDonald did have 2 years back to back.
A little faster. I mean, I don't know. We can criticize it later. Let's talk about the Commanders. Commanders are on the clock at number 16. Their needs.
This is Will Levis,
quarterback, offensive tackle. I don't think so. I think they're all in on Sam Howell. But I could be. I mean, he's still there. I mean, how many opportunities do you have? A guy who's like a top 5 quarterback talent still there on the board at 16.
This gotta be Will Levis. You think they're all in on Sam Howell? Really?
I mean, I think they're at least willing to give the guy a shot.
Well, he was. Well, you know what? Sam Howell was once in a past time he was a projected number 1 overall pick. So
was Spencer Rattler, and I mean,
and look how that ended up.
I mean,
I think Sam Howell.
I mean, he still might.
Sam Howell's one of those guys that he should have declared early.
Yeah.
I think he stayed in college 1 year longer than he should have, and I think that's what hurt him.
Well, I think he got exposed because he came back for that last season, and he got
exposed.
He didn't have the weapons. All his 2 wide receivers were gone. His two wide receivers were also gone, and he got exposed. It's like
it's called spade a spade. He got exposed, and that's fine. But I think. I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, but they're better. Who at wide receiver do they have other than Terry McLaurin?
They got the kid they drafted. Jahan Dotson is a good football player. They also have
Jahan Dotson's good. Okay.
Curtis Samuel, who's also really good. They have a sneaky good wide receiving core. And then we're talking about cornerback. I mean, Christian Gonzalez is still here. Like, this would be here.
This would be the ideal pick. A steal right here. I'll be surprised if he drops past this.
I think the command. So they did take a corner. The Commanders. It is not Chris Gonzalez. It's Emmanuel Forbes, the kid from Mississippi State.
Forbes. Oh, they took the big, long, lanky kid out of Mississippi State, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. I like Emmanuel Forbes. He's rangy.
He's flown off draft boards.
Like
over the last month or so, basically since the combine.
Yeah, he's a long dude. I mean, whatever.
I'm just not so sure he's a better corner than Christian Gonzalez. Like, I don't know. He's got all the intangibles. You look at his game tape; he's been pretty solid. He's flown off boards. He's got tremendous ball production. 14 picks. 4 years in college,
6 interceptions last year, which is tied 3rd in the nation. So he's a ball hawk.
Yeah.
He's 6'1".
Yeah, he's a little undersized, a little bit.
At 180.
Weight wise, he's a little. But I mean, you can always put on muscle as you get into the NFL. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, a 4.35 in the 40, which is absurd fast.
They're super fast. He's rangy. We'll give him that.
According to the website I'm looking at, he only weighs 166 pounds.
Oh my god! ESPN is like,
they're like measuring these guys.
Jumped them up 14. Jumped them up 14 pounds on ESPN.
They're like weighing these guys like with all their pads on.
Yeah, right. They're like, hop on a scale. It's all your pads, and we'll throw a couple of weights in your pocket.
Yeah, because this website, NFLDraftBuzz.com, has him at 166.
166 soaking wet with a rock in his hand. Oh my God.
Yeah, so 6'1", he's in
Jesus.
the 81 percentile. 4.35 in the 40-yard dash, which is in the 93
Fast as all
percentile.
hell.
In 10-yard dash, 1.48, which is in the 93 percentile. The
He's
vertical
jumping
jump,
routes.
yeah, vertical jump is only 38 feet or 38 inches of 38 feet. Can you imagine? His broad shot 131. That's in the 94 percentile. That is stupid fast. All the Patriots are on the clock. So let's talk about their needs.
The Patriots are going to draft. The Patriots are going to draft Christian Gonzalez here. This is a Bill Belichick guy. This is a Bill Belichick.
Christian Gonzalez is the pick at number 17.
Is the pick. They are going to.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at the notifications. I already knew they were going to draft him. Like, Bill, they didn't even waste time to go up there, right? I mean,
no, nothing.
They
like,
literally ran up there. Like, Bill Belichick's like, Christian Gonzalez there? Oh, okay. We got to run up to the board and go get him. Like,
Christian Gonzalez, in my opinion, the best cornerback in this year's draft, ends up becoming a New England Patriot. Yeah, the guy, I mean, he's stupid fast. He's got all the intangibles, 6'3". He's just one of those guys you look for at the cornerback position. According to Pro Football Focus, they have him rated as the 12th highest rated prospect in this year's draft. He had 4 picks in 2022. He also had 6-pack breakups in 2022. Everything he could have wanted for in a prospect is kind of what he brought to the table. 6'1", 438 or 197 pounds. He ran a 4.38 in the combine. He's got almost track time when it comes to his 40-yard dash.
Oh, he's super fast. He's super fast. I mean,
and he's not slight of frame either. I mean, 197 pounds for a corner is not a small guy.
Oh, he's got some athleticism, but I hate the fact that ESPN's using nothing but his highlights from Colorado, though. Like, while he's playing Colorado, because Colorado was terrible last year.
Maybe he doesn't have the other
better highlights than that.
Oh, maybe not. We don't know. But yeah, Christian Gonzalez. I mean, this is a Bill Belichick pick. We talked about this during our mock draft show on Tuesday. That this would be a very Bill Belichick like pick. Like, he would end up taking a Bill Belichick guy. And what does Bill Belichick like to draft? He likes to draft corners and defensive players. Like, he's not taking he's not gonna help out his young quarterback who's getting killed all the time. It's like he's not gonna
go get an offensive lineman. Well, he did get one last year or a couple years ago in Cole Strange. Was it last year?
Yeah, guard.
They got one in Cole Strange.
Reach for him. Took him like 3 rounds.
Actually, you know what? Cole Strange wasn't too bad last year.
It's true. He wasn't. But they could have gotten him. They could have gotten him like 3 rounds later. But
yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, I mean, Jackson Smith and Jug was still there. Quentin Johnson. I mean, they have your core to save their life. Jacoby Myers is the only guy, right?
No, he's not even there anymore. Jacoby Myers is
not even there anymore. That's what I'm saying.
I gotta be totally honest with you. If a wide receiver for the New England Patriots were to come into my apartment right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you who it is.
I'm gonna pull up a draft chart. I mean, you're right. Jacoby Myers is not there. Who the hell do they have?
They got Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne,
and Devontae Parker.
Taquan Thornton actually came on a little bit towards the end of last season, who actually played pretty solid. Matthew Slater still on the roster. Probably not going to play a lot of the wide receiver.
Oh my God, he's a special teams guy. Come on, he's the GOAT at special teams.
He is probably.
Devontae Parker, you raved about him. He's sneaky.
He won me a fantasy championship one a couple years ago when he was a Dolphin.
He's sneaky undervalued. Kendrick Bourne's a nice slot receiver, and Juju Smith-Schuster is a good number 2.
The way this stuff is panning out, I mean, you could probably.
They did get Mike Gesicki.
Yeah,
and they're pairing him up with Hunter Henry. We all know he likes to run 2 tight end sets.
We'll see.
Whatever.
But I personally like this pick. I mean, getting Christian Gonzalez here at 17 is pretty good value. To the Detroit Lions, who made a pick of the running back at number 12. They are now back on the clock at number 18. Major needs their corner, defensive line, edge, and tight end.
This is Michael Mayer or Dustin King or Kincaid here.
I mean,
that'll be a tight end or a wide receiver.
They have massive needs at defensive side of the football. I mean, I could see a Nolan Smith going here as an edge rusher to put on the other side, even though they do have Miles Murphy could be a guy. I mean,
I told you guys yesterday. What did I tell you guys yesterday? I said, or 2 days ago, I said the Detroit Lions were going to go offense, both picks in the first round, because they know their defense is still not going to be where they want it to be, right? And so they're going to say, oh, we're just going to outscore people all year round. We're just all year long. We're just going to outscore people. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's another offensive guy.
I'm not going to make that pick. I think they need to address the defense at some point during this draft. I think this will be the pick. They just cannot continue to be dealing with the same defensive. Like, their offense shouldn't have to give up. Just shouldn't have to put up 40 points to win a game. But the fact that they took a running back at pick 12, I literally have no idea what they're going to do. They could take Will Levis here. I mean, just chilling there. They might as well.
If they go Will Levis, I'll be shocked if they do that, because Jared Goff with the season he just had. I mean, come on now. But I wouldn't get that. I don't know about all that.
You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be the pick here for the Detroit Lions. I think they will take a tight end. I think they will shore up this offense. I mean, they have their pick of the wide receivers at this point too. I mean, they could literally take any wide receiver they wanted.
Trying to see if I can find the pick here before it comes out.
I'm trying to do that too. I gave up on I gave up on Shams. Trying to look up Shams stuff because he just kind of stopped posting. Like after that Arizona Cardinals debacle, I think he just was like, okay, this isn't my thing. This is my forte.
No. He's like, I'm trying to. I think he's like trying to. I think he was like trying to time it before like they actually made the pick. Like maybe like 30
well, he announced that pick
was
getting. He
announced the first overall pick like
10 minutes before it was.
Dude, they weren't even
me and you were talking about that pick for like legit 10 minutes before they announced it. So
the first three picks, he like had horrible timing. They're like, okay, dude, we can't keep giving you. You're messing it up, man.
I think he also, because he got picked 3 wrong. Like he announced it as the pick for the Arizona Cardinals. It ended up being a draft trade, ended up going to Houston. He's like, oh, I just like, he effectively got that wrong.
I'm gonna stick to the NBA.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I mean, he does run the Athletic, so he's like, one of the main guys for the Athletic, but he's an NBA guy.
I mean, he's right up there with Woj.
We cover the NBA and the NFL, baby. I see you, Shams.
Yeah, we do. We try to multi-track here. We got the crossover here at Prime Sports World. Yeah. Well, imagine Will Levis falls out of the first round. I don't think he will. I think I think Tampa Bay is going to take him at
either Tampa Bay or if he falls to Minnesota, they're taking him
for sure. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan right now. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
How many 3-pointers is Jason Tatum already?
All right, so let's get. All right, so I'm trying to find this pick. I got it. So the Detroit Lions with pick number 18. They're going with a guy that you like, linebacker Jack Campbell out of Iowa. Is the pick for the Detroit Lions.
Campbell. I think he was the top linebacker. He won not the Bednarik. He won the Buckets Award.
Yeah.
So
the pick is in. Breaking it before ESPN announces it on TV. We got the pick is in. Jack Campbell, linebacker, Iowa. That is the pick for the Detroit Lions. I'll be back in a second. Give me your thoughts on this pick for the Detroit Lions.
Definitely will. Jack Campbell is a surefire tackling machine, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, and he is one of the smartest players in the nation. He is academic All-American, ladies and gentlemen. So Jack Campbell is a jack of all trades here from Iowa. This kid is a tackling machine. Like I said, last 2 years, let me pull up his stats here for the last 2 years for Jack Campbell. And it fits right into he is a Dan Campbell-esque type of guy right here. Last 2 years, Jack Campbell, he had 59 solos, 125 tackles his senior year, 140 total tackles his junior year, 57 solo tackles, 83 assisted. So he's a hell of a game tackler. 6'5". He's a massive linebacker. He's a prototypical middle linebacker. He's smart as all hell. He was all academic, all American. Yeah, this kid right here is going to be a good NFL linebacker to come. I mean, he's good in blitz. He's good in the blitz coverage. He's good. He's the one thing I will say about him is that I worry with him a little bit about maybe covering some of the faster running backs in the passing game. But I do think he has some of that sideline to sideline speed where he can sniff out a quick toss play, where he can kick out and he can cover your guy in the flat a little bit. So I like Jack Campbell. He's not as rangy as Henley, but he's a tackling machine. He's a smart middle linebacker, and he is your coach basically for that defense. That's what Detroit needs. I mean, looking at Detroit's depth chart. Let me pull up their depth chart here. They're gonna need defense. I mean, they can't just outscore everybody. They know that they're gonna be in a upper echelon here in the NFC North with Aaron Rodgers as a New York Jet. They're gonna compete for the NFC North title, and they have to compete with the Minnesota Vikings. And so they have to go get a defensive guy, a guy that's gonna be the quarterback of their defense. And Jack Campbell can sure as hell do that. At middle linebacker, right
as
now,
reliable as it gets.
I mean,
6'5", 246 pounds at the linebacker position. Finished with a grab trade of a 91.7. Lead all Power 5 linebackers according to Pro Football Focus. This is just a generic, just a good football player. He does make smart football players and will help your defense.
Yeah, and like I was telling people that he was named college football's top scholar. So he's an academic All-American 2 years in a row. So kid's smart as all hell. He is, a good on the football field, good off the field. He's a perfect pick for what Dan Campbell's trying to build. Character guys on that defense. I think he's done enough in Detroit with the offense. I wouldn't have went Jahmyr Gibbs, but hey, so that's either here or there. But they got it right with Jack Campbell, in my opinion.
I think the other thing is they're going into for the first time in a long time, Detroit Lions is coming in as the quote unquote favorite in the North, right? They're like the betting favorite to come out. I think that's interesting territory for them. Moving on from that, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're currently on the clock at number 19, offensive tackle, cornerback, and edge. But the pick is already in, so let's wait for Roger Goodell to come up here and tell us who the pickest player is. It's not Will Levis. It's Elijah Kanshi, the defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. Drew a lot of comparisons to Aaron Donald, given the frame and the size, as they're both very similar in stature.
Will Levis is falling. He is falling hard. I don't know who needs a quarterback coming up here.
Minnesota does, but
we just talked about Minnesota.
Minnesota's in a situation where they want to win now. I don't necessarily think that they want to wait. But before we get on that, let's talk about Kanchi, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. What do we like about this guy's game?
Oh man,
other than the combine,
the combine really set him up. But I mean, they're calling him another Aaron Donald. I like this kid. He can push the pocket. He's fast. He can get to the quarterback. He is
slightly undersized for that interior defensive tackle position.
That's totally
6 foot,
fine.
280.
He's strong, though. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. He's a strong kid. 7 sacks from the interior defensive lineman position is good. That's pretty damn good.
Highest graded from Pro Football Focus. Highest graded interior defender in the entire draft.
He had 7
higher
sacks back-to-back
than
years. He's had 7 sacks back-to-back years. That's pretty. 14 sacks from the defensive tackle position where you're getting doubled by the center, the guard, the tackle, whatever the case is. That is pretty damn good. Couple that with the fact that he is good at pushing the pocket, quarterback pressures. He's good in the run game. I mean, I like this. I like this pick. I mean, I like it exactly where he's going. Especially the interior defensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They needed that, right? They needed offensive line. They needed interior defensive line help. So this is a box checker, and he's a hometown kid, right? He's from Miami, Florida. You know, I don't know how much they take that into account, but he's going back home to Florida.
I imagine it matters a little bit, but
a little bit.
I just think that his intangibles, his measurables. I think the comparisons to Aaron Donald, like, hey, if we miss on this guy, we could be missing on a guy who's going to be like arguably the best defender ever. 4.670 at the 40-yard, 4.67 at the 40-yard dash. It's in the 91 percentile. Stupid fast, like for a guy who's 300 pounds basically.
That is incredibly fast.
Yeah. 19 tackles, 21 stops, 47 total pressures in one season, 8 sacks this past year. That goes into the season before that. We had 38 pressures and 9 sacks the season before. He's had at least 2 sacks in every single season he's been a pro. He's been in college. Yeah, this is a good pick for Tampa Bay. I don't have an issue with that at all. And this is a team I think still wants to continue to contend, based on the fact they haven't traded away Mike Evans. They didn't trade away any of their defensive pieces, including Devin White, who wanted to get traded. So we'll see. From this, the Seattle Seahawks have jumped. Or are they just next? Oh, they're just next. My bad. Seattle Seahawks are on the clock now at number 20. Their team needs edge, defensive line, wide receiver, and interior offensive lineman. They took Tyree Wilson, I think, with their first, or Will Anderson. Hold on, let me double check that.
They took Tyree Wilson here. Oh no, they took. I think they did take Tyree Wilson here.
No, they did not.
No,
they took Devin Witherspoon with their first pick.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah, they took Devin Witherspoon. Yep, there you go.
So now they're back on the clock. Will Levis is still here.
I think you go defense again. Miles Murphy.
They could be a team that looks like Will Levis, or they could even take Jackson Smith-Njigba. They have a needed wide receiver too.
They do, man. I can't believe all those wide receivers has fallen. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Zay Flowers, Quinn Johnson. I expected Quinn Johnson to fall.
I think Jackson Smith-Njigba fell because of the health concerns his last 2 seasons in college. But I think if you're a team in the NFL, like, are you going to be the first team to take a wide receiver? No, especially if nobody else does. I think you can hey, we can get value elsewhere if nobody's going to take a wide receiver. So that's why maybe you saw like a million offensive linemen get taken in this draft so far. I don't know. I think also the Chargers are probably licking their chops because they get basically the pick of any wide receiver they want, or any tight end they want either. I mean, none of them have gone either.
The Chargers are ecstatic right now.
Yeah, for sure.
All these players have fallen to them, and they have a pick of the litter. I mean, they're gonna get a potential top 15 draft pick at this juncture. I mean, so right here. Honestly, I expect them to keep building on the defense, in my opinion.
I mean, Brian Branch makes some sense here. Nolan Smith makes some sense here on an edge rusher.
Yep.
They could.
I think they got to go D-line. Miles Murphy, Nolan Smith.
But I talked about this during our free agency show. Like because of the contract that Geno Smith is on, they could get out of it this offseason without a big cap hit. They could take a quarterback here. The fact that Will Levis is still here at 20, I wouldn't be shocked if he took this pick. If he ended up being a Seahawk right now.
Man, I feel bad for Will Levis right now, man.
Yeah.
He's entering that part of the draft where there's only maybe a couple teams that are looking. I mean, they just signed Geno to a pretty decent extension. I don't think they're looking.
No, but they can there's opt outs. Like the opt out for he's the only money that's guaranteed is this season.
Yeah, but you okay, David? When you go pick a quarterback here, you're telling your veteran, okay, time's up. I don't think time's up on Geno. I think time is in for Geno.
Right. I mean.
I don't think this would be a smart decision. I think if they're trying to
I never said it would be a smart decision, but I could see it because of the way that Geno Smith's contract is structured.
That's true. But I mentioned this a little earlier. I said the way that the Seattle Seahawks built the Legion of Boom. I mean, they got all those hard hitters. We mentioned Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Brandon Browner, Richard Sherman, all those guys. Like, if they go get a guy like Brian Branch, you can start calling this Legion of Boom maybe 2.0,
No,
right?
let's not get crazy here.
I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to get too crazy here and too excited.
I mean, Miles Murphy makes a lot of sense here. Nolan Smith makes some sense here.
What if they go get a guy? They reach for a guy like Antonio Johnson, who's 6'3", can play in the box. He's a hard hitter.
I think they have linebackers that they've drafted over the last couple seasons.
Well, no, Antonio Johnson's a safety, so he could play. He played at
my bad.
He could play that position.
He could play linebacker though. I think they had him play a little bit of linebacker in college.
They'll have him play a little bit of outside linebacker. I think another guy that you can look at, but you could get him in the second or third rounds. J.L. Skinner from Boise State. He's a pretty good safety too. He's definitely played a lot of outside linebacker along with safety in college at Boise State. So they can go a multitude of ways. I think they go D line here. They go get a guy like Miles Murphy, or they go get a Brian Breesy, or they go get Nolan Smith, who has a lot of potential.
I'm gonna go on a huge limb. I think the pick is gonna be Will Levis. I think Will Levis will be a Seahawk. I'm making that prediction.
Oh my gosh, I am gonna go crazy if it's Will Levis, because why would they go Will Levis, man? I
just told you because I think that because of the way the Geno Smith contract is structured in a way, they can get out of his money this offseason and give the reins to this young guy. How many opportunities are they going to have where a guy who's a really top flight quarterback prospect is just sitting here? Let's say just stink next year, which could be possible. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
I mean, Geno Smith may have caught lightning in a bottle. I mean, like that one season and never find. He's never been able to find it again. So I mean, who knows?
That's true. That's true. Very true. So I feel like this pick is taking forever. What if they go get an interior offensive lineman? What if they go get a guy? This is perfect where Osiris Torrance could be at.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this will be perfect right here for him.
I mean, because they did a good job drafting those tackles in this most recent draft, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. But I mean, All right, here we go. See, whenever I have like these like special announcements, like the pick never leaks. So I don't know if it's like, okay. So yeah, it's the wide receiver. So breaking news: Seattle Seahawks have taken Jackson Smith-Njigba with pick number 20 in this year's NFL draft.
Oh, there we go. I like that pick, man. Tyler Lockett is gonna. Both of those guys are gonna have some pressure taken off of them with Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Well, the other thing that is nice about that decision is Tyler Lockett's going to be a free agent next offseason. You're probably not going to bring him back. So he basically sets the tone for, basically moving on from him. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver, Ohio State. You heard it here at Pride Sports World before it was announced on ESPN.com. So, yeah. So
that's an excellent pick.
I mean, he's a good football player. He's a good compliment to what they have. And he immediately becomes that Tyler Lockett replacement, DJ Metcalf compliment.
He was... Okay, when they had him, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jameson Williams, he was the best player out of all those guys, okay, in the wide receiver room. So that's saying something about Jackson Smith-Njigba. The only reason he fell is because of those health concerns the last year and the last couple years, right? This kid, he can run every route. He can cast the ball at the apex. He's got great hands. Great speed, great in and out of his cuts. He's a clutch player. He could take a hit over the middle. This is a kid, man. This is a kid that if he pans out for the Seattle Seahawks, he'll be one of the better wide receivers in the NFC West. So that's
I think it's a really smart pick if you're Seattle. I mean, if you want to commit to Geno Smith, like he's going to be the guy. At least you assume, right? You have to give him every opportunity to be the guy. So get a wide receiver, build up this offense, continue giving him weapons. I mean, it gives them a wide receiving trio that's arguably the best in the NFL. With Noah Fott at tight end and Kenneth Walker running with the running back.
Running back, whoo, that's a good. That's a really you already got good.
You got two good right and left tackles. I mean, that's nice.
Thank you, Russell Wilson. for helping build up some of the team.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You know, that they were able to do. And this is what we talk about, that they, you know, you got to hit on your draft picks. So far, the Seattle Seahawks have hit on their draft picks, and I think this year they've done a great job. You know, getting Devin Witherspoon in the first pick, getting Jackson Smith and Juggle right here on the offensive side. You arguably get the best wide receiver in you know, out of college football. I mean, it's a toss up between him and Jordan Addison. So
I mean,
you know,
I think Zay Flowers is the best wide receiver in this draft. But
you think he's gonna be the best wide receiver in the draft?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
He's
I think he's a better route runner.
Oh, I think he's the best route runner in this draft by far.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. Yeah.
So let's swing into the Chargers at pick number 21. Their major needs: wide receiver, tight end, running back, and then defensive line. They also have a major need at offensive line. Basically, after the kid from Northwestern. Oh my God. Out here.
Godly.
Oh my God. Hold on.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Lord, I'm dying here too.
It's gonna piss me off when I finally. Anyways,
you finally get to it.
Yeah, when I finally get to it. But anyways, side note, I mean, Rashawn Slater, thank you very much.
Rashawn Slater, yeah.
I mean, they have some needs at offensive line. They got Corey Lindsey and Zion Johnson, who were a free agent signing and a draft pick last season. But that right tackle position leaves much to be desired. And they have basically no depth at their offensive line. If any of those guys go down, they'll be in big trouble. But I think with this opportunity, when you're sitting here and you have all of the wide receiver depth at this draft that's still left, you have the pick of your litter when it comes to the tight end position. I'd be shocked if this pick wasn't a wide receiver or a tight end. Shocked.
So they still got Gerald Everett, Donald Parham on the roster.
But Gerald Everett was kind of just meh.
He was last year.
Like everybody thought he'd be better than he was for the Chargers this past season. It just never really panned out for him there.
If they go get a wide receiver, it's either got to be Jordan Addison or Zay Flowers.
I think Zay Flowers would make a lot. He'd be a perfect complement. He'd basically be Keenan Allen. He would be Keenan Allen's replacement before Keenan Allen's out the door. Like he's a good complement to Mike Williams. Like he's a small route running wide receiver you could put in the slot.
Right. So that was my thing, because you have a big body guy, Mike Williams on the outside. You have a big body guy. Well, the Keenan Allen's got good size. He runs great. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And then you got Joshua Palmer, who's a good compliment to those guys.
Yeah, but I like Joshua Palmer, but
if you can go get a guy like Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison here that can play in the slot, he'll be a great compliment to both of those guys on the outside. Quentin Johnson, not so much, because he's an outside guy. He's a guy that he needs to play on the outside. He needs to play. He needs to be the number one wide receiver, in my opinion. So I don't think Quentin Johnson compliments Mike Williams and Keenan Allen well enough. Not like those other two guys.
I mean, if you want to get really tomfoolerish, take Jalen Hyatt, man. 440 in the 40-yard dash. If you want to talk about speed,
Jalen Hyatt had the most catches of like yards over like 25 or something like that in college. Like he's a legit, like the best deep ball threat ain't coming out of college football. So he can take the top off.
The problem with those deep threat guys that are like only good at that one thing, they don't always pan out in the NFL. I remember when when Ross was coming out of, I think, Clemson, like he broke the 40 time, right? He broke CJ2K's record, and then he was like basically never could stay healthy in the NFL. So once you start getting hit a lot.
MVS is another one of those guys that could just run route. He's a one-trick pony. There's a lot of guys like that, but I mean,
I think Zay Flowers should be the pick here for. And I mean, looking at the rest, we're talking about the draft here, right? Like, if we're talking about Will Levis, we got to kind of feel for this guy a little bit, right? I mean,
what about a running back like maybe like Zach Charbonnet, right?
Oh, the Chargers just took Quentin Johnson. My bad, I missed that announcement. So the Chargers, they have taken Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, TCU. What do you think about that picking?
Don't like it. I don't like it for them. He doesn't fit with who they have there. He's already a big wide. You're gonna have a trio of 6'5" guys. 6'4" guys.
I mean, maybe that's what you're going for. Maybe it's like the
is that what they're going for? Because I don't understand it. Because I think Jordan Addison, I think Jordan Addison fits perfect in with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. I think Zay Flowers fits perfect. But when I look at Quentin Johnson, he needs to be on the outside. He's not going to be in the slot. I mean, yeah, you can run some screen passes for him. He could take it to the house, but I don't really see it. I mean, I don't like that pick for them. I think
I would have gone a different way.
And
I would have gone a Dalton Kincaid. I would have gone
either way, yep. Or Michael Mayer. I mean, Jesus,
yeah, I mean,
man.
make your position. I mean, wide receiver. I mean, Quentin Johnson may end up being a good player, and this might end up being a smart pick when it's all said and done.
I think he will be a good player. I think he will be. I think he'll be okay.
I mean,
he's got to learn how to catch the ball at the apex. He catches the ball like this with his body, and I don't. That's not good for the NFL. I mean, it's not good if you're.
I mean, he's 6'3", 208. I mean, his 40 time was, a little bit slow. 4.52, but it's still, this is a guy who's 6'3". I mean, he's already at NFL weight. I mean, he's going to be a good football player.
He's got great breakaway speed. I'll tell you that. I mean, that bubble screen that he took in the CFP from against Michigan and took it to the house, that was like Calvin Johnson-esque. Because Calvin Johnson can do that at that size. He can catch a bubble screen at 6'5", and he can just take it to the house and nobody's going to catch him, right? So, Quentin Johnson had that kind of, that kind of breakaway speed, in my opinion. But I don't like this pick. I just don't like it. I think Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers would have been more complimentary.
I tend to agree with you on that. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. Big shout out to the Baltimore Ravens as they get the Lamar Jackson contract done just a couple hours before the draft starts. 5 years, was it $260 million? Basically comes out to $52 million per season. So shout out to Lamar Jackson. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out to Lamar Jackson actually for representing himself and getting that deal done. Kudos to him. But they're on the clock now. Their major needs: wide receiver, cornerback, edge, running back. Rumors are they're going to be trading for DeAndre Hopkins at some point during this draft process, either today or tomorrow, or even on Saturday, however that ends up panning out. But what would you do if you're the Ravens right now with this pick on the board, with the way the board is kind of laid out here, where you have kind of the pick of your wide receivers? You don't really need a tight end. You don't need a quarterback.
I wouldn't be surprised if D-Hop got traded right here.
I would be legitimately shocked.
You'd be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I've heard those. I've been hearing those rumors for about a week now.
I would be borderline shocked if he went for a first-round pick. I just don't think he has first-round pick value anymore.
Well, he got traded for a can of pop and some wings,
yeah.
So.
His trade value, but he's got injury concerns the last couple of seasons. He's got that suspension that he kind of dealt with last season. I do not think
he came off suspension on fire though.
He did, but I just don't think he's going to get I don't think they're going to get a first-round pick for him. By the way, so at about 20 minutes, we're going to have to go off the air here at Prime Sports World. I have to get ready for work tomorrow, so we cannot go until the end of the first round. We will go as long as we can.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We will go as long as we can, as we've brought you a bunch of breaking news here at Prime Sports World. We've broken picks before they've aired on TV. So if you watched us, hung out with us all night at Prime Sports World, we've broken picks before they've aired on TV. So thank you very much for checking us out. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. But we will have to go off the air in about 20 minutes or so as we get closer to the end of this draft. But Ravens, I don't know. I think quarterback, because of the way the board has fallen. Cam Smith is still here. Joey Porter Jr. is also still on the board. They just lost Marcus Peters. They could put a compliment right next to Marlon Humphrey, or they could take a Nolan Smith. They have need there as well. They're in a good spot. They have Miles Murphy's another guy that's still here. They could take as their other edge rusher.
Or they can go wide receiver. They can go, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison. I know they got OBJ in the offseason. And they got the young kid from from Minnesota.
Bateman, but he just requested a trade.
Which is incredible. Incredible. You haven't done anything to request a trade, son. So I can see them going wide receiver here as well. But no, I think defense does make a lot of sense. I think, especially in the defensive backfield, makes a lot of sense. What are the Ravens known for historically, right? Being a great defensive franchise, defensive team, up there with the Bears. The Bears have always had the great defensive teams, right? So I think they go corner. I think they go cornerback here. I think Joey Porter Jr. fits right in perfectly for what the Baltimore Ravens are doing. But we'll see. Cam Smith is another intriguing prospect as well here. So
yeah, I think
we'll see.
I think there will be a corner. I can't imagine them going any other direction here with this pick here for the Baltimore Ravens. So they got 2 minutes still to make that pick. I'm gonna see if I can scoop it. Some of the Twitter followers that I've been checking out since we started this show. By the way, yeah, if you're Ian Rappaport actually has been the best insider during this whole process. He's usually been on top of these picks before they've aired. So shout out to Ian Rappaport.
Good stuff, Rap.
Yeah. Yeah, 185 guaranteed money there for, as we mentioned earlier, for Lamar Jackson, $185 million in guaranteed money, the most guaranteed money ever in the NFL.
Godly, Okay.
It's a lot of money.
That is definitely a lot of money. He should, just for representing himself, he should legit just like go ahead and just spend $1 million on something outlandish.
You know what you should do? You should send the money to me.
That's what he should do. Because we've been vouching for him to get paid, man.
Yeah.
We've been vouching for him to get paid, son.
We have been. Man, that was really. I think the
Pay
Celtics
that
are
man.
gonna bounce the Hawks tonight. I was hoping.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching it right now.
I was hoping the Celtics would lose that series. I just want to see chaos in the Eastern Conference. Like I'll have all the number one seeds get bounced besides the Sixers.
I need Jason Tatum to hit one more three.
Man.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I just need him to hit one more three.
Trigger Trey,
Gucci, son.
Trigger Trey, baby. He might give you
Gucci.
Trigger Trey might give you some little bit of nice stuff.
I just need him to hit one more three. I got Jason Tatum 5 threes in the dub, and I put some jelly beans on it, so a little sweet on top, baby.
Yeah.
Give me,
a little frosting, right?
A little frosting on top, son. Okay.
All right, the pick. We got the pick for the Baltimore Ravens. They have taken wide receiver Zay Flowers from Boston College. Breaking news out of Prime Sports World. Zay Flowers, wide receiver, going to the Baltimore Ravens out of Boston College. Let's go ahead and switch up the graphic here. Bang. Zay Flowers from Boston College, best route runner here in the draft. Probably means Rashad Bateman is going to be on his way out of Baltimore. Maybe. I mean, who knows? But yeah, 182 pounds, 5'9", 4.42 in the 40-yard dash. He's just got that jitterbug kind of excitement that you look for out of the wide receiver position, and somebody the Ravens really haven't had. They thought Rashad Bateman would give him that. Hasn't been healthy. Good football player.
This is an excellent pick for the Ravens. They legit have the best route runner in college football. He can run every route possible. He can take the top off the defense. He can run an intermediate route. He can run a screen route. He can run a short route. He can play in the slot, which he'll fit perfectly next to a healthy OBJ. This is a good weapon. They're starting to get some weapons for Lamar Jackson after just signing him to a big mega deal today. I like it. They still have Mark Andrews. They still have a plethora of running backs, Dobbins. I like this for the Baltimore Ravens. It was either him or Jordan Addison. They would have fit perfectly next to OBJ. And then we got to watch out because I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, DeAndre Hopkins, I have a feeling is going to get traded to the Baltimore Ravens either tonight or tomorrow. I think day 2 would be perfect because David's right. His trade value isn't all there like it used to be. So I do think D-Hop will be a Raven here soon. So if you get D-Hop, Zay Flowers, and OBJ with Lamar Jackson, that's pretty special right there.
Yep. So take a look at some of his game film. Just that in-out move right there.
Look at that route right there. I mean, that's just
it's nasty.
That's lovely. That was nasty. That was nasty.
But the in-out move just burnt him, just finished.
Just totally fooled that kid.
I mean, he's got the speed. He can take you outside. He can burn you. Like, that is one crazy catch. If you want the highlight I just showed on that as well. That is like really like you see the top end speed, and then he's got good ball skills. Like he's able to make this catch. So here comes one more play, and then we'll start looking at the Minnesota Vikings. He makes that catch.
Look at that. Look at that.
The yak spin
Look at
move.
that.
Like that's
His
body
yak.
control.
Yeah, look at that crossing route, shallow cross, nice spin move, gets his guys a knack for the end zone. I love this kid, man. I think he's going to be excellent, man.
I think he's going to be excellent,
I think he's
too.
going to be
I
excellent.
wish the Chargers had taken him, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, Zay Flowers had 1,000 yards last year, 1,077, 12 touchdowns, tied fifth in the nation, 78 receptions. Yeah, this kid is as solid as they come. His average per catch went down this year, but I'm not worried about that. I mean, when you have all eyes on you, I mean, it's going to go down a little bit when defenses play towards you.
Yep.
So yeah, when they gravitate towards you. So I'm not really worried about that. But this kid is going to be an excellent pro, I think, at the next level. I honestly, truly believe that. So Minnesota
moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. They have a need at quarterback because Kirk Cousins is probably not the answer there. There's nobody really to back him up. They also have a need at corner, wide receiver, and edge. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. is here. I mean, they brought in Cameron Sutton. They brought in some guys in free agency, but they didn't really address the cornerback. And then Daniel Hunter is really the only edge rusher they have. I mean, outside of Zadarius Smith, who's just kind of getting up there in age. I think Joey Porter Jr. should be the pick here. But would I be shocked if Will Levis ended up being the pick here at 23? No, I wouldn't be.
I would not be shocked here if Joey Porter Jr. is the pick here, but I have a feeling they're going Will Levis. They need a succession plan. Here. Okay. Kirk Cousins has not been the quarterback that they have regular season wise. Yes. Postseason wise, no. He has not been that guy.
True.
And I think you have to start to look beyond Kirk Cousins after this year. And none of these teams.
The other thing is like, so let's say he doesn't go here in Minnesota. All right, where does he go?
He drops
Jaguars, Giants, Cowboys, Bills, Bengals, Saints.
He drops out the first round. This is the pick. This is the pick right here for Will Levis.
But I also think that if I was a team, let's say like the Commanders,
jump back in.
Yeah, jump back because I want to have that extra year, right? Like I want to have that extra year of having him under contract for that fifth year. I want to take him in the first round. So I mean, if I'm calling Philadelphia, I'll be like, hey, Philadelphia, we'll give you a second and like a third next year. Let us have your first round pick. I think Philly would do that, especially if it's like I don't know.
I cannot believe that he's fallen this far. I can't believe that they picked Anthony Richardson over him.
I can't.
The Colts. I don't know why.
I think teams fell in love.
6'3", 232. I mean, he threw for 2,400 yards this past year, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He didn't have such a great year. The year before, 24 touchdowns, 13. See, the thing is about him, I watched a lot of his football games this year. Thing about him, man, he has such a strong and electric arm that he thinks he could fit it. That's the gunslinger mentality. He thinks he could fit it into any place, anywhere. And that's not the case. I mean, the windows are tighter in the NFL. Maybe NFL teams are like.
Jay Cutler learned that the hard way. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and so they have a little bit of similarities. And so another thing is that you can say, like, out of all the quarterbacks, except for Anthony Richardson, I guess, Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud had a lot of weapons in their last 2 years. I mean, he really didn't have any weapons to throw to.
But the other thing is, like, Will Levis didn't really improve. Like, he's kind of stayed the same guy his entire time in Kentucky. Like, he didn't really take that step forward that you kind of look for out of a guy who's going to be an NFL player. Like, he kind of just stayed the same guy. Like, he kind of just relied on the fact that he's bigger, stronger, and he could just force the football in there. And it just didn't. In the SEC, that's not going to work.
No, I mean, he played Northern Illinois, and I mean, he made a couple bad decisions against a MAC team.
Yeah,
I mean, Come on. So, honestly, it would be crazy if Hendon Hooker got picked here by the Vikings
I don't think that's
over
gonna.
Will Levis.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that'll happen either, but it'd be crazy to see though.
It would be,
That
but
would be crazy.
so the pick is in. I'm gonna try to see if I can scoop it from one of these insiders here. Hold on, sorry. Man, I feel bad for him, man. You gotta sit in there and just wait.
He's in the green room.
I think he's just out in like the area, like wherever you sit before you get picked.
In the green room, yeah, he's in the draft room or the green room. Oh, that's gotta suck. Come back tomorrow, Will.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that a player is dropped like this in the NFL draft. So
that's incredible, man. Well, you know what? The only thing I gotta say for Will Levis is wear that chip on your shoulder your whole career, and when it's time to prove him wrong, prove him wrong. That's
all you gotta do is use it as motivation to continue getting better, continue pursuing this. This isn't the end for you. You're for sure gonna get picked in the second round somewhere, probably. This doesn't mark the end of your NFL career. Like this is still only the beginning.
Not at all.
So don't hit your head, man. I mean, many people would kill to be in the position that you're in now.
So Ian Rappaport has not.
No, he hasn't. I'm looking, man. Oh yeah, I got it.
Jordan Addison.
So they've gone wide receiver Jordan Addison with the 22nd pick here for the Minnesota Vikings. You released Adam Thielen in the offseason. Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC. You release Adam Thielen here in this offseason. You don't really replace him with anybody in sign. I'm not really sure that KJ Osborne really moves the needle all that much. You need to get a proven guy on the other side of Justin Jefferson. This is a good pick. I think you worry about the future of the Minnesota Vikings later. Right?
No, yeah, absolutely. I think next year, I mean, even not even next year, second round, third round, you can go get a Hendon Hooker. You can go
get the kid from Stanford, Tanner McKee.
And even Will Levis is going to fall into the second round. You could still get him. I mean, if you want to jump in back into the early in the second round, I think one of those top teams is going to probably hold him ransom a little bit.
100%.
Draft capital.
That's for sure the way I would handle it. But yeah, Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC. Looking at his intangibles here, he is 5'11", 173 pounds. He ran a 4.49 in the 40-yard dash, which is about average for wide receivers. His combine is really the reason that he fell. There was at one point he was the number one wide receiver in this draft process. His combine just didn't do him any favors. He's under the 50th percentile in every measurable. When it comes to arm length, when it comes to hands, when it comes to wingspan, when it comes to 40, when it comes to the shuttle, 10-yard is in the 54 percentile. His vertical was only 34. It's in the 32nd percentile. Broad jump at only 122. 3-cone drill, 7.2, 34 percentile.
Did the New York Giants have back-to-back picks here?
No.
I'm looking at 25 and 26. It's New York. Did they make a trade?
Yeah, they must have. I don't know. Let me find out for you. So the Giants. Hold on.
Yeah, the Giants are on the clock right now.
Yeah, so the Giants have traded 24 for 25, 60, and 240.
So they just swapped.
The Giants traded up and they gave up two other picks, 160 and 240. So the Giants are now on the clock, and the Jaguars have traded back
to 26. Okay.
No, they've traded back
to 20. Is that 25? It's 25. The 26. 26 pick, right?
So the Giants are on the clock right now at 24. And the Jaguars are going to have the 26th pick. or 25. Sorry, 25.
Yeah, 25. Yeah. They're gonna have the 26. So I wonder
Yeah.
who the hell they're gonna go get because all the main wide receivers are off the board.
I mean, there's still
Joey Porter Jr.
I mean, they don't really. That isn't really a need for them, really.
No.
I don't understand this trade up and giving up
Me
two
neither.
other
Giving up
two other
picks.
I don't.
Who are they gonna pick? Who do they fall in love with that they wanted so bad here?
I mean, Josh
Gotta be a wide
Downs.
receiver.
I mean, Jalen Hyatt. I mean, I guess if you're really gonna want to reach, I mean, it
Maybe
wouldn't even
Tank
really,
Dell.
I mean, I would take Jalen Hyatt over both of the guys that I just referenced.
This is interesting. What is Christian's New York Football Giants
I do wish Christian
going
was
to
in here
do
right now.
now?
I don't understand.
They have me on the edge of my seat right now. Those little slide guys.
I straight up do not understand that decision. So, why?
I don't understand why they would trade up one pick for why are they doing that?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no wide receiver there that I think they are in love with.
I don't know. I mean, because they had a run on wide receivers 4 in a row. Maybe they just want to make sure they get ahead of. I mean, who are the Jaguars taking that they wanted? I mean, Osiris Torrance. I mean, makes a lot of sense if they were going to go offensive lineman as something they needed to address. I don't know. The internet said the pick is in. I'm going to see if I can scoop it. We're going to do 2 more picks after this one, and then we're going to call it a day. Whenever it gets to be 11:30.
So Ian Rappaport has not
he doesn't
come out with
have
anything yet.
He doesn't have the pick
None of
yet.
the other guys have anything else to say either.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty flabbergasted by the decision to trade the Giants making this decision. I don't know what the goal is here. Who's on the board that you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy I can't afford to miss. Looking at the best available players on the board here. I mean, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, they don't really need a tight end. I mean, Nolan Smith. They could put a dominant. I mean, Joey Porter Jr., Miles Murphy. I will be interested to see what they do here. Brian Branch, another safety. They could go that way.
Maybe they go and reach for Henley from Washington State. I'll be shocked here because they do need some linebacker help as well. I mean, who else is here? What other linemen's here is interior offensive lineman is Osiris Torrance. I don't think has his name been called yet.
No, for sure not.
No, his name hasn't been called yet.
I mean, Steve Avila is another guy on TCU. That kid could possibly be here. Antoine Harrison could be another guy, but they have 2 guards that are pretty solid. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
So first time 4 wide receivers went back to back ever in the history of the NFL draft.
That's incredible.
Because we almost had that. We
Shout
almost
out
had
to the
that.
wide receivers.
We almost had that last year, if you remember. Because you remember they had like basically three wide receivers in a row, and then the Philadelphia Eagles traded up, and they ended up taking. They traded up and got Jordan Davis. Everyone thought, oh, they're moving up to take another wide receiver. If you remember.
Yeah. No, I do. I remember that.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I wonder who the hell.
This is one of these moments. This is one of these moments that are like, wish Christian Simpson was here. They're like, yo, dude, what is your team doing?
I wonder who they've fallen in love with here to give up 2 picks
I
in
think
the swap.
I think they're going to address the secondary. I think they're going to take Joey Porter Jr. I'm not necessarily sure that you had to trade up to do that. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not to mention, there are other corners on this board that I think are pretty damn good players. I mean, Cam Smith is still here. Deontay Banks is still here. I mean,
yeah.
If you're going to trade, if you traded up to get a corner at this point, I don't like it. I don't think it's a good decision.
2 area guys, yeah, Deontay Banks and Joey Porter Jr. both from that region. So I'm assuming those scouts were able to go to their football games. Maybe it is Deontay Banks. Maybe it is Joey Porter Jr. going here.
The Bills have actually traded with the Giants, and they're now on the clock.
Are you kidding me? What is going on here?
Oh.
What are the New York Giants doing right now? So
Okay,
they moved back.
all right. So Deontay Banks is the pick for the New York Football Giants. It will be announced here just in a minute. Deontay Banks, the cornerback out of Maryland, is the pick of the New York Giants.
But you said it's going to.
So no. The next pick,
not. So the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Correct.
Are moving back.
So now the Jacksonville Jaguars are now trading back, and they're now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock as they have traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Bills now have the 25th pick in this year's draft.
Interesting.
But let's talk about Deontay Banks.
Banks.
What do we like about Deontay Banks? He's got the prototypical size, physical pass corner. I'm not sure. He's 6 foot, 197 pounds. He's the 5th highest rated corner according to ESPN.com. They gave him an overall grade of an 88. What do we think about Deontay Banks as a draft?
Well, you know what? Deontay Banks, I think he's got some good intangibles. He's rangy. He did pretty well against Ohio State. I'll give him that. When you turn on some of that game film against Ohio State, he did pretty well against some of those guys. When I look at him, man, I don't see him as like a ball hawk. I see him as a guy that can press you. He's got long arms. He's good in man-to-man coverage. He's got, some nice skills. He only had 2 interceptions his whole career at Maryland. So I don't know how well that translates. So he's not the biggest ball hawk. Right here I probably would have went Joey Porter Jr. if it was up to me. But Deontay Banks is raw. He's a 4-year guy. He's got the experience at the cornerback position. So I think that you could have went with somebody better. Cam Smith, I think I have higher here. I have Joey Porter higher here than.
I also think that this is one of those kind of things that where a team falls in love with the combine, like 4.35 in the 40, a 42-yard dash, an 11-foot broad jump, like. He just jumped off of the combine, and then when you paired it with the tape, they're like, okay, yeah, this kind of makes a lot of sense. Moving over to that, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills now on the clock, as they have pick number 25. I think this is where the Miles Murphy slide ends. I think you could put him at defensive tackle. I think you could put him at edge. I think there's a reason that they wanted to trade up to get over the Dallas Cowboys. To take Miles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson. If you're Buffalo with their needs right there, wide receiver, interior offensive lineman, running back, and linebacker, this also could be an Osiris Torrance location as well.
Yeah, man. The Buffalo Bills, man. They don't really have too many areas of need or concern, but I do think they do need to bolster that offensive line. Definitely. They need, Josh Allen cannot be going back there, dropping back 50-plus times a game like that. Not again. We can't see this again. We need to start getting nasty. We need to start running the football a little bit more. We need to start protecting a little bit better. So I think Osiris Torrance goes here. But I do like that you said Miles Murphy because they do need some
it could be Brian Breesy too. He's another guy that could be this pick here.
They need some run stoppers. We saw Joe Mixon run all over them in the snow.
Yeah,
last year. So
I think you need to shore up either your offensive line or your defensive line. I don't think you can come out of this draft without doing either. At least nothing.
So the pick is in, but we haven't gotten anything here on Twitter yet. So. We're still looking and scanning, but yeah, I think you go either interior offensive line. I think you go with either Steve Avila or you go with Osiris Torrance. I'd go personally with Osiris Torrance. Or if you're gonna go defensive line because Joe Mixon just ran all over you. So I'd go with either Brian Breesy or I'd go with Miles Murphy here. Let me see here.
I think it's going to be Osiris Torrance. If I'm making a final prediction, I think Osiris Torrance will be a Buffalo Bill. I think he makes a lot of sense. I think you need to shore up your offensive line. They got manhandled in that game on both sides of the football. Osiris Torrance is probably the best football player available.
A guy like Maisie Smith, who's he's basically a eater there in the hole in the inside. And then looking at edge rushers, I mean, Nolan Smith is still there. Miles Murphy's still there. The kid from Northwest is still there. Tui Pelotu is still there from USC. He led the nation in sacks. So those are guys that you can look at. For the Buffalo Bills here. I don't necessarily think you go linebacker here either.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think they're going to go linebacker here.
I don't think Deion Henley or Drew Sanders is a guy that they go. I think when you look at Drew Sanders' size, I mean he's got great range. He can take on blocks. He's good. Yeah, I mean he had 11 sacks, 39 total pressures as a blitzer in 2022. I mean he was a guy. He was an edge rusher at Alabama before going to Arkansas. So he can play. He can rush the passer and he can play linebacker. So I mean something interesting here for the Buffalo Bills.
And the thing is that they had to have incentivized in order to trade up. Who was the guy that they didn't want Dallas to have that they felt the need to trade up to get? And when you look at Dallas, I mean I think they're wanting to shore up that defensive line. I don't know. I think I'm almost second guessing myself about who the pick is actually going to be here for the Buffalo Bills. As I wait for this pick.
The pick is in. The pick is in.
You want to message it to me real quick?
Oh yeah, I got you.
All right.
It makes total sense too.
Does it? But it does make a lot of sense of why they wanted to jump Dallas in order to get this guy. Like that makes a lot of sense. But like when it comes to actually like their roster construction, I'm not so sure.
With
breaking news, Buffalo Bills take the tight end Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah, with this pick because they needed to jump Dallas, who's for sure taking a tight end.
Yes, they were. Well, Dallas is gonna get their guy. I think Dallas finessed the Buffalo Bills. I think we're gonna go back-to-back tight ends here. Michael Mayer's still on the board. Mayer's still on the board. Dallas is still gonna get their guy, so it doesn't matter, and they got an extra pick out of it. So Dallas is
Dallas didn't. Jacksonville did.
Oh, Jacksonville. I'm sorry.
I mean, but Jacksonville. So Jacksonville actually acquired.
Jacksonville gets an extra pick out of it, so that's smart. But I think Dallas is going Michael Mayer here.
Yeah.
Anyways, regardless.
And I mean, this doesn't change the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they still would have taken Joey Porter Jr. What if they were taking 24 or 25?
You know why I think it makes sense for the Buffalo Bills? Because how many years Dawson Knox has just been super average.
Yeah, but he's has moments where he's really good. I just don't think that this was a position of like absolute need. Like when you talk about like what the Buffalo Bills, like where their holes were, I don't think tight end comes up on like the top 5 of the list of when you talk about their needs.
No, like, you're right. It doesn't
I think like even Jalen Hyatt, like taking Jalen Hyatt here would have made more sense than this decision. And it makes sense why they jumped Dallas to try to get Dalton Kincaid. I don't like it. I think they had bigger needs. I think they needed offensive line help. I think they needed defensive line help. I think they could have also addressed the wide receiver. Like Jalen Hyatt would have been a slam dunk pick here. I just think it was a reach. Not necessarily a reach. I just don't think this fills a need that they had. And when you're Buffalo and you're like it's like a team that's wanting to go to the Super Bowl, I don't think you can just take like a player that doesn't improve your ceiling. Like this is making them better next season. Unless he's like Travis Kelce immediately.
No, I agree. It doesn't make them better immediately next season. They could have went with a good press corner like Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
They could have went with a good interior offensive lineman like Osiris Torrance. But I do think that Buffalo's still going to be Buffalo. They're going to pass the damn football, and they want another tight end that's big, that can run block, that can also run routes. Dalton Kincaid's a good pick here, but I mean, Buffalo had other team needs, man. They did have other team needs, but it makes sense though because Dawson Knox has been average, man. I mean, they clearly don't.
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
I wouldn't be shocked if Dawson Knox didn't get on the field nearly as much as Dalton Kincaid next year.
I could see that too. Let's move on. We got the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. They pick in 3 minutes. Their major needs are on the screen right there. Tight end, running back, defensive line, wide receiver. If you do remember, Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz is now in Houston. So they have a big time need at tight end because they don't have any. It's for forever. They had basically really good tight ends there. I mean, Jason Witten, and then they had the dude who got hurt before Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz, and then they had Bobby Schultz's cousin Dalton Schultz, and now they have no one. It's just,
They don't have anybody at tight end. They really need a tight end here. If Bijan Robinson had fell to them, they would have picked up Bijan Robinson, but he didn't fall to him. He went in the top 10. This is going to be Michael Mayer. This is my guy out of Notre Dame. I love Michael Mayer here. For the Dallas Cowboys. So I do think that they go Michael Mayer here. Dallas is definitely going tight end, in my opinion. But I could be wrong. I know some Dallas fans that want Devin Achaney from Texas A&M. You can get him in the second round, fellas. I'm just saying. There's not a wide receiver here that you should be taking at this juncture.
Unless you're stupid in love with Jalen Hyatt. But I mean, Dallas is another team. I think they have bigger needs than the wide receiver position.
And I think when you talk about Michael Mayer, you're talking about he was one of the best tight ends. I mean, I know Dalton Kincaid just got picked ahead of him, but I mean, Brock Byers won the Mackey Award, but Michael Mayer was a close number 2, and he had better numbers than Brock Byers last year. That's saying something. So the one thing I think about Michael Mayer is that sometimes he looks a little stiff out there, but I mean, when I look at the tape, I mean, he's making all the plays on the field for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He had some amazing games last year. He's a big target. He can block. He can take a hit over the middle. He's a guy that can get you yak. I mean, he's got a good sense to the end zone. I like Michael Mayer here for the Dallas Cowboys. And Dallas will love him too. Dallas will love him too. Okay.
There you go. That's what matters.
I'm just mad that the Green Bay Packers didn't get him. That's all. and I gotta hear from him from Dallas Cowboys fans. But this kid had 67 receptions, 809 yards, 9 touchdowns.
I mean, they also could be an Osiris Torrens location too as well. This could be a team that takes him because I don't know if it's necessarily a quote unquote lock that Michael Mayer was going to go here, but yeah, it's close to a lock as I can, So Dallas Cowboys, the pick is in. I was waiting to hear about it on the draft, one of these Twitter accounts that I've been following here to give me the information. Sorry, hold on. I almost want to just start typing in Michael Mayer into the.
I honestly believe that's what this pick is going to be. I don't see anyone else. I mean, they don't have the biggest need. They don't have a really super big need at D-line. They don't have a big need at cornerback. They don't have a big need at linebacker. They're good on defense. I mean, they don't. I mean, you could say wide receivers. There's no wide receivers that I would pick here that I'd fall in love with that would make a difference. I mean, Michael Mayer or Osiris Torrens would make a difference for this team on offense.
Yeah, 100%.
In my opinion. I know a lot of Cowboys fans. They, maybe a guy like Zach Charbonnet, who's a 3-down back.
No, stop it. That would be a crazy reach if they did that. It would be. I'm not saying he's not talented. I just don't think he's worthy of a first-round pick.
Pick is in. Pick is in. Here, I'm going to message you, David.
Ooh, interesting.
So they go with they are going defense, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Ah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Massive human being, space eater, can take on 2 blocks. They needed this type of guy. They needed a guy like this so they could free up Michael Parsons. They needed this type of guy.
So Maisie Smith, yeah,
They went D line. They went D line and they got D line.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, this is another guy. Yeah, you free up some blockers from your edge rushers on there, Lawrence and Parsons.
Michael Parsons.
No, so I mean, because your offense, I think is going to be okay. It's the defense that kind of struggled here at times.
Yeah, you don't need any cornerbacks because you just got Stephon Gilmore with Trayvon Diggs. You still got Jordan Lewis, who's pretty good. Malik Hooker's good at free safety. I mean, their defense is good. They just needed like maybe a space eater. I don't know, like Jonathan Hankins. I mean, you need space eaters, and you have a massive space eater. Jonathan Hankins is 31 years old, so he's getting up there in age. Been in the league for a little while, so you need a guy like Mozzie Smith to come in. He's a big human being. Man, let's look at his intangibles here. I mean, the kid's huge.
6'3", 323 pounds. He's the fifth highest rated player at his position at this year's draft. That's a big human being.
That is a big human being. They're kind of comparing him to Dontari Poe. If you don't remember Dontari Poe from Memphis a few years ago. But he is a big human being. He is a big human being. Athletic as all hell too for 337 pounds.
Yeah,
it's athletic as all hell.
But moving on from there, let's talk about the final pick that we're going to cover here at Prime Sports World tonight. As we're getting close to the time, we got to kind of wrap up the show. The Jacksonville Jaguars are finally on the clock after they trade back twice. They have the 27th pick. Their corner needs cornerback, tight end, safety, and edge. And they kind of just got lucky here where Brian Branch and arguably the best corner in this year's draft is still there with Joey Porter Jr. and Brian Branch or Cam Smith. Like they have the kind of the pick of the litter. And Michael Mayer is still here. I know they have the kid from the Giants that used to drop everything, but
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, thank you very much. Who was really good for them last season, but he's on a franchise tag. You don't really know what his future is with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, this has to be. I think they go Brian Branch here from Alabama.
Yeah, he's been linked to them fairly regularly in a lot of mock drafts. And what's great is like they probably would have taken him at their original pick, and then they traded back and they picked up 3 additional picks.
Yeah.
So that's good draft board understanding. They got 27, they got 130, and then they also got 160, 240. So they acquired 3 extra picks for a guy they probably would have taken with the pick they originally had. That's good draft understanding. The pick is in for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and as I mentioned, this will be the final pick that we report on here at Prime Sports World tonight. Thank you very much for everybody for hanging out with us and watching any part of our show. We had 15 or so viewers at one point, so I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into this, and Izzy puts a lot of work in putting the research. So we very much appreciate just anyone coming out, hanging out with us for a little bit during our draft coverage. We appreciate Matt James for taking some time off of his work to come in during his break and talk a little bit of football action with us as well. So thank you. This is a big undertaking. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us.
Absolutely. I do appreciate everybody for going ahead and liking that page. Go ahead and continue checking out the podcast on all the streaming services as well. And keep tuning in, man, because we're doing great things here. So,
yep.
The pick I have not gotten any word of what this pick is for Jacksonville Jaguars. They can, like you said, they can go a multitude of ways. You can still go Michael Mayer here. You can still go get Brian Branch.
I mean, Nolan Smith is still here too. Nobody
Nolan
thought he'd
Smith
still.
is still here. I mean, they got the pick of the litter.
I
Miles
mean,
Murphy's still here.
I mean, he might be the guy who goes here. Let's be real. Like
Nolan Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what?
I mean, when I think
Josh Allen
did my last mock draft, I had him like, yeah, I had him like in the top.
Yeah, him. You'll have Nolan Smith, Josh Allen. Who's the other kid that they got out of Georgia, the number 1 pick?
Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon Walker. Yeah, Trayvon Walker. So I mean, you're building a hell of a defensive line if you do that. I think they are in the AFC South, right?
Correct. Yeah,
so
I mean, it's arguably the one of the worst divisions in football.
Worst divisions in football. So
I mean, it's either that or the NFC South. So,
right. So not really. Let me tell you, not really a lot of quarterbacks are gonna beat you deep here. So but it would be a luxury to have. I mean, Indianapolis is rebuilding. Houston's rebuilding. They literally Jacksonville. This is their division for the taking this year. So continue to build on what you built on last year. I do think that more weapons for Trevor Lawrence would be amazing. I think adding a tight end of Michael Myers' caliber would be great here. I do think that just with the state of the division, that if they didn't go defense here, I wouldn't be upset if I was a Jacksonville Jaguar fan.
I mean, I wouldn't hate if they got Jalen Hyatt and just were like, you know what, we're gonna score people, we're gonna blow people out of our building. Like,
seriously, because honestly, what offense in the AFC South scares you?
No,
other than Tennessee, maybe Derrick Henry.
No,
he might get traded. He may get traded.
I got the pick. Actually, it's the final pick that we're going to cover here at Prime Sports World is Antoine Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma, which makes a lot of sense because they just lost what's his name to
Cam
the
Robinson.
Kansas City. Him too, but they also lost Twan Taylor to the Kansas City Chiefs as their replacement for Orlando Brown Jr. So Antoine Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma. The best tackle prospect still remaining in the draft, and many people thought he would be go way earlier than this. People thought he may have to be drafted in the teens. So based on where they took him, and this is pretty good draft value, it makes sense with Cam Robinson's potential suspension and a little bit of question marks there at the other tackle position. Thoughts?
He is a true left tackle. He's only allowed 9 pressures and 447 pass blocking snaps. That was this past season. He's been starting at left tackle ever since he was a true freshman. So for 3 years, he's a legit left tackle. He's got good speed for 6'4", 315, 4.98. That is pretty damn good. I think that's the second best time out of all the linemen because I think Broderick Jones was 4.97.
Yeah.
So he's got good speed, especially for a top first round pick. So yeah, I like the pick for Jacksonville. And I mean, you get a left tackle to protect Trevor Lawrence. It makes a lot of sense. And like I just said, I mean, they didn't necessarily need to go defense because there's no offense in the AFC South that scares you. They can just go defense in the second round, the third round, or whatever the case is with the picks that they just acquired. So I like this for Jacksonville.
Me too. So swinging in as we wrap up our draft day coverage here, the first round of the NFL draft. Obviously, there are still 4 picks left. But of all the players that are left and remaining that have not been picked, who do you think is the best football player left that has not had their name called so far this week's draft?
Well, you know what? I'll have to probably go with Joey Porter Jr. He's probably the best football player, in my opinion, left. Brian Branch is another one. But I definitely have to go. Joey Porter Jr. is probably the best one out of all of them, in my opinion.
I'll go Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith is probably the best football player left. He had crazy combine numbers. I know his combine numbers didn't really reflect on paper what you saw on the tape, but I still think he's going to be a good football player as all said and done. Also, Michael Mayer, I'm kind of shocked he's not going to be a first-round pick unless something drastically changes between now. I mean, I guess Cincinnati could still take him, which they would be. They may have already taken him because they may have just went you know what, the guy's there because literally the Cincinnati Bengals pick is already in. So they already like less than 2 minutes. Like it took them to make this decision.
They're like, oh, we're running up to the board. We're running up to the board.
Yeah. We'll be back.
He said no more.
But yeah, Prime Sports World will be back here tomorrow, where Izzy's going to running the bases, his Major League Baseball show, and then on Sunday we're going to come back and we're going to preview some of the second round matchups in the NBA, and then we're going to be back here all next week with post draft coverage along with XFL coverage. So keep an eye out for all that content. I'm David Huffin, right there is the CEO, Israel Rivera. Thank you very much for joining us. For anyone who watched any part of any of this show, we do very much appreciate it. And gentlemen, what we do here at the Prime, my friend.
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Bringing the heat, baby.
Yeah. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a safe trip. And hopefully the draft goes well for everybody involved. That your team does well. And hopefully TJ's having fun in Cancun because, man, I'm jealous.
Yes. I'm jealous too, man. TJ, I need to go out there and sip some pina coladas with you one day.
Yeah,
okay?
for sure, dude.
All
Yeah,
right.
we'll be back here tomorrow. You'll have a good night. Peace out, brother.
Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.